Big O Show. This is the 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 Big O Show. This is
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Why is that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys?
Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Howdy. Good morning, boys and girls. Yes, sir. We are ready to rock and roll on a beautiful Monday. It is a beautiful Monday because the Miami Dolphins won. We needed that, too, after that disgraceful performance by the Canes on Saturday as they wrapped up the most despicable and embarrassing season in the history of the Miami Hurricanes. We'll get to that, but Mario Cristobal does own the honor of the worst season ever in Hurricanes history, and it's all his. We'll get to that eventually. We'll get to talk a little Canes, but obviously we'll talk a lot of Dolphins. We'll talk some Heat also. Can't wait to get Ira on at 10:30 because we got some score to settle here with Ira. As my man Caleb Martin. I'm telling you, it happened the last time he was in a groove, and so his groove got disturbed. Now he's back on it. Do not disturb Stella's groove, but we'll get to that also. The Panthers basically suck lately. We will talk about that. We got Monday Night Football tonight. Speaking of suck, Steelers and the Colts. Oh my God. Two teams that have combined for 7 wins and 14 losses. That is not a lot of fun to talk about. We got a loaded show. Ira Winderman will stop by at 10:30. Alan Poopart will visit us at 11:30. Andy Barons, get your fantasy football questions in. I mean, wow. So I get to talk about a guy named Zonovan this week. Well, that's pretty amazing there in fantasy football. What do we got? Odell Beckham, acting like an idiot on a plane, refusing to put on his seatbelt. Just refusing to put on your seatbelt, that alone should get you arrested. And he wasn't arrested, which is, amazing to me. But anyway, by the way, Ira's tomorrow, not today. I forgot. He's on a plane today. We'll get Ira tomorrow on the show. I completely forgot that he was traveling, but that happens. So we'll get Ira tomorrow instead. We'll have Alan on at 10:30 and Andy at noon. So there you go. It's kind of a light schedule today when it comes to guests. you guys and ladies out there were a little nervous, like all of us, and you found out the news about Teron Armstead later on in the evening that he is going to, well, he'll miss a little bit of time, but he will be back. And maybe not this week against San Francisco, which is a concern. Maybe the following week he's ready to go against the Chargers, but it looks like it's a strain. It's not a torn pec and all that. His season's not done. So we can take it easy. For those of you that don't know, I'll read the tweet from Rap Sheet, which Ian Rappaport yesterday, who you catch him here on Wednesdays, he tweeted out the situation with Teron Armstead, and let me read it exactly so that way you guys, can feel a little bit better about left tackle Teron Armstead suffered a pec strain per Rapp and Pelissero. It's not as bad as originally feared. He'll miss some time, but the hope is he would be back on the field at some point relatively soon. Armstead has played through a lot in his career. So there you go on all of that. Okay. So we got it all done there. And hopefully he's back for, let's say, the Chargers game or something along those lines. You won't have him here for San Francisco. That's the sad part. But here's what I would say to you and to everybody out there, okay? Because I would imagine that it's going to be either Austin Jackson at left tackle or Greg Little at left tackle. You got to put Brandon Shell back at right tackle because I felt terrible for the guy playing left when he's not a left tackle, and you've been doing everything right tackle, and then they swung you over, and, it was just one of those things that but here's what I would say to all of this. Mike McDaniel, you got to coach your ass off this week. And you got to find a way, and maybe, you like to be out there and fling it all over the place and all that. Well, you can't do that now. You can't do that because Tua's going to get killed. So you're going to have more max protect. You have an incredibly intelligent and accurate quarterback. So you'll have less people running routes. But San Francisco cannot cover the two people that you have running routes because nobody in the NFL can cover both of those guys running routes. They'll find ways to get open, and that's what you're going to have to do. And you're going to have to put a sixth lineman, and you're going to have to put somebody next to Austin Jackson, next to Greg Little at left tackle. And Austin Jackson was limping in the locker room. Maybe he'll be fine and he can play, this week, but it doesn't matter. There's going to need to be a Michael Dieter parked next to him, or maybe it's Austin Jackson playing left tackle and Greg Little's the extra man. Okay. But somebody, Smythe, I don't care. Sean Stanley, somebody, you're going to have to put somebody there, and you're going to have to use a sixth lineman. You're going to have more max protection this week than you've had or you've ever had, because you don't really like to do that kind of stuff. But I think that this is the week where you've got to adjust. And yesterday was actually a really good lesson for him because he was playing a lesser team in that lesson in the Houston Texans. And something tells me that the 49ers have a better pass rush. So if they have a better pass rush and your line is obviously, not the same without Teron Armstead, because there's a drop-off that's just sick, then you got to adjust. And you got to swallow your pride. And as much as you love airing it out, you cannot do that this week. This week, you got to play a little bit more of a responsible game. And then the defense is going to have to show up this week. They're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to make some plays against a really tough offense, because that offense has got a crap ton of weapons everywhere. Impactful receivers, tight ends, running backs, they got it all on that team. So that will be a challenge. And they have one of the better pass-catching running backs, obviously, because they just traded for him. So McCaffrey is going to be a load to deal with out in the open field, as he is for everybody out there. And they've got some players, man. Ayuk can play. Obviously, Kittle's a monster. This is a really good offensive unit, and they've got a lot of weapons. So it's going to be a hell of a challenge for Miami this week. San Francisco comes in as a 4-point favorite. The over and under is 47. Miami is plus 160 in the money line, and San Francisco is minus 190 in the money line. So this will be a tough contest, ladies and gentlemen. I don't need to tell you that. I'm sure you all have figured that out, but boy, it's but here's where McDaniel gets paid, and you've got to adjust and make sure you adjust where you give your players an opportunity to succeed. That's it. Steve Chapman, he says, good morning, everybody. The Dolphin juggernaut keeps rolling, baby. 8-3. Yes, sir. Jamie Zorrilla in from San Jose. As always, and reminding everybody to smash the like button. Please smash the like button, man. Let's get the show every day over 1,000 likes. That way we really get the algorithm going to everybody else. We've already got 266 people on. Let's go, man. Smash that like button. It really helps the show out. And help us get to 20,000 subscribers. We want to, let's power through 20,000, man. That's the quest. We got to get to 20,000 before the season ends. How about that? Let's see if we can do something like that. That would be awesome to get to 20,000. So spread the word, man. Spread the word. Tell friends and family members to subscribe. Kyle Cockrell is in. To Extreme. Jay Gelfin is in. Ohio John. C. Dola. True Fin fan. Jean Rosario, big O fan, big fan. You inspire me to create my own channel one day. As a nurse, I know hard work. Thank you for yours, sir. Thank you, and good luck to you. It's a fun thing to do. I'll tell you that, and it's great to connect with people all over the world. That's one of the things that I love about this show. Is I'm a man of the peoples, so I'm one of those guys that loves to connect with people. So that's for me the best part and the most satisfying part of this is that Sean and I, as we watch this whole thing grow, but we get to meet a lot of great people, man. And we got a great taste of that this entire year at Walk-Ons, like we did at Sports Grill 2 years ago. And moving forward, we'll have other places that we will broadcast from, and eventually we'll have a spot permanently for the Canes, permanently for the Dolphins. I'm counting on Mario to turn it around. Even though he did an absolutely shit job this year, but I have not lost faith in Mario. He'll turn it around, but eventually we'll get that turned around, and we'll have homes for all of that. But Jean, good luck to you, man. Have fun with it is what I would tell you. Omar Lopez is in. Alex Palenzuela says, good morning, everybody. Thank God for Big O. I tuned into Joe Rose last time I ever turned on that anti-Tua Greer guy. Why? What happened? There's no way Joe was bashing Tua and Greer this morning, right? That's got to end already, right? I would imagine by now Joe's got to be kissing some ass, right? I would imagine. I don't know. That's kind of weird. It sounds weird, Alex. He did that. There's no way on a day like today you can't be ripping those guys. Let's see what else. Brett Dodger in. True Fin fan. Miami will go 4-2 the rest of the year, not 5-1, 12-5, or 13-4. I'll take that, man. Brian Walters is in. Andy Jackson. William Youngblood. Heat Fins. Chase Barrett says, I can't lie. I'm worried about missing Armstead. Our O-line gave me PTSD from last year. I really hope McDaniel can work magic, because if not, oh boy. Yeah. Now you're right. It's going to be tough. Man, there's a lot of you already in there. Adam, I see. Dougie Fresh is in. Love you all out there, man. Thank you all for keeping it locked here and for supporting the hell out of this show. I see Michael Gouda, John Yang, Josh Greenwell. Thank you. Tua was very lucky not to have gotten injured yesterday with that hit where his legs got trapped under him. Yeah. Yep. It's all part of the game, bro. It's a brutal game. People get injured all the damn time. And, yeah, that's just one of those where, he got twisted up badly. NorCal says there's no way Rose is hating on any Finn on the No Hate Radio, Fins for Life. Yeah, they're I mean, I don't know. I wasn't listening, so I don't know. Thursday or Friday, I'll catch the boys because I'll be in the car, and I'll tune in. But I doubt that. I can't see that. Let's see. Poochie says, Big O, what do you think about Elijah Campbell in that Brandon Jones role? He has speed, looks good on DB Blitz. Listen, he's a nice little fill-in player, but he's not Brandon Jones. You know what I mean? Not even close. They got nobody. It's not as bad as Armstead. When Armstead's out, wow, they really they don't got anybody. I mean, Armstead is one of the best tackles in the NFL. How are you going to have somebody sitting behind him that's even close to him? He would be starting if he's close. He would be starting on the right side if he's close. So it's so bad. But then there's also the same thing with Brandon Jones. There's a major drop-off. It's not as bad as Armstead. It's not as bad as Tua. When Tua goes out, there's woo! It drops. When Armstead goes out, woo! It drops. And now Brandon Jones, it drops. It's bad. But it's not as bad as the other two, but still. They have nobody like Brandon Jones on that team. Nobody. I said this for weeks already. It's hell, even McDaniel confirmed it. He said the same thing. It's too hard to replace a guy like that. He was so versatile. So proud of him. He was growing up to really become a good cover guy too, which I thought was really, really good. Killer AMC says, was that the game when Armstead went out? Tua did not have an opportunity to set his feet after one sack, got up a little gingerly, walked it off, then did not come back in the next drive. Well, they pulled him out. It had nothing to do with anything else. They pulled him out because he was already taking too many hits. I personally think they waited a few plays too many to pull him out. I would have pulled him out even faster than they pulled him out. Okay? But I thought McDaniel took too long. And by the way, Skyler did not perform well, unfortunately. But he needs playing time. He needs a lot of playing time. He needs a lot of experience. I see Lisa Rosen, Ian from Brooklyn, Frankie Moret says, love the big hit from Rowe. Yeah, yep, caused a fumble. That was nice. That was very nice. I'm curious if any of the backup linemen are athletic enough, like Jackson, that can play the sixth lineman blocking tight end on the roster practice squad. I'm intrigued by what the staff comes up with. Well, they better come up with something. That's for damn sure. Because you cannot allow Boza to go one-on-one both weeks. San Fran and the Chargers. Because you got to deal with each Boza now. On that side. I wonder if the Boza family moved out west and left here South Florida. Do they have a home out west so they could like alternate and visit the sons? I would imagine, right? I mean, those two guys are making the kind of money that they should have bought their parents, maybe a home in Carmel so they can go back and forth all over the place. Carmel is like, my God, that's like you drove into heaven. Seriously. Really beautiful place. I know that Clint Eastwood is no longer the mayor there, right? He was the mayor there in Carmel. Can you look that up for me, Sean? Clint Eastwood, Mayor Carmel. He used to be the mayor, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think he's, a little busy nowadays and probably stopped trying to do that stuff. But I think he was the mayor in Carmel for a little while. I don't know how long, but I think he was. What else do we have here? Ohio John, thank you for the love on the super chat. Very nice of you. Knight, Thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, "Call me crazy. I'm not worried. I trust McDaniel, and I trust him too. I trust him too. He's not perfect, but man, he has done such great stuff that you got to really trust him overall." And Ohio John says AVG continues to be a ball hawk. Well, but don't tell Omar Kelly that now. Okay, don't tell Omar Kelly that Andrew Van Ginkel's not a ball hawk. Don't tell Omar that. Okay, on Wednesday when he's on, don't tell him that. Yeah, Sean.
He won in 86 and 2001.
So he was the mayor from 86 to 2000, then from 2001.
86 and 2001.
Oh, okay. So did it end in 2001? Is that what it says? Is that what I mean? 86 through 2001, or because you're making it sound like he won the 86 and 2001 elections.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay, so then I would imagine, what's a mayor, 2 or 4 years? I'm not sure now. Okay, so up until the early 2000s, he was the mayor in Carmel. Okay, so you ever been there, Sean?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't think so.
What if we go to the West Coast and we have some dead time? We'll take some, if we're up north, we'll take some cruises, and we got to go to Carmel. You just to go see the place and just like, okay, all right, I've been to heaven now. Like when you die, I think it's Carmel. People say it's heaven, but I disagree. I think you really end up in Carmel. They just kind of tell you it's heaven, but it's really Carmel. I'm just saying.
He won the election in 86, and thank you, Chad, for this. In 2001, he was appointed by the California State Park and Recreation Commission by Governor Gray Davis. And then in 2004, he was reappointed by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He was back. Okay. And then that's it. That was the last time. Well, he's like 167 years old right now, right? How old is Clint Eastwood? He's in his 80s, right? Must be somewhere in his mid-80s, I would imagine. Because if I'm 56, he's got to be in his 80s. Because I was a kid when he was doing Dirty Harry, man. I was a child and he was doing Dirty Harry. You feeling lucky, punk?
He's 92.
92. Wow. Holy crap. Yeah. Yeah. And still going strong. He's amazing, I got to say. Alf says John Boza's owned Solid Gold strip club in Palm Beach. Yep. Dude was rich before his boys got paid. Yep. I used to have the father on my show. Wow. This is awesome. Don't you love when you're getting like calls from Vietnam? Huh? You're like, what the hell is this? Vietnam. Like, I'm not going to answer that. It's like weird. Oh, man. I got a buddy of mine that answers any call and every call. I'm like, bro, why do you answer anything? If it doesn't have a name on it, if you haven't saved it, don't answer it. If it's important, they'll leave them a voicemail that you can call them back and all that. But if it comes from like Egypt or Vietnam or Colombia or whatever, like some odd place that you may not even have anybody there, he answers them all. And I'm like, yo, bro, they're going to hack your phone. They're going to, they're coming after you for something. There's some kind of scam. You don't answer that, Too funny. Anyway. Damn it, what was I saying? Oh, Alpha was talking about Boza. I used to bring on his dad because he owned that strip club. And I actually went up there to that strip club and I did I did live spots for them, and I went up there and did a show actually at his place in Palm Beach years ago. This is like, dude, this is 20 years ago, Alf. Something like that. At John Boza. Yeah, easily 15, 20 years ago, easily. That I did that. Yeah, I remember that. Good strip club, by the way. Nice size. It's actually a nice place. What else do we have here? Pat in Asheville says AVG just can't cover backs out of the backfield. Always way late coming into the coverage area. Been a problem all year. Will be a big deal on Sunday. Yeah. It's not easy covering backs, period, my brother, for any linebacker to stay with a running back. That's a hell of a job for any running back overall. Don't make it sound like it's an easy thing to do. There aren't a ton of backers that really stay with running backs. That's tough sledding, man, for those guys. What else do we have? Good morning, Big O. Thank you for having the best, intense, and honest sports show that tells it like it is and holds nothing back. McDaniel did not show anti-flowers for Tua. No, he did not. That he definitely did. Good morning, Big O. Hope you're doing well. McDaniel will show San Francisco he was the brain behind their offense. Knight says Eastwood is older than the Empire State Building by 6 months-ish. Let's see. What else? Big Ho Stick, what do you know? Carmel really isn't that nice. Carmel is way south of Niner Stadium. Can't afford food in Carmel. Okay, but I've been to Carmel. I lived in San Francisco, you idiot. So I know exactly what it's like. So there you go. And let's get rid of this idiot too. So there you go. At least you got one text in, and I read it. So you're good there. At least you're successful. Now you can go play with yourself in the bathroom. I got excited. Big O read my text. He read a text and I called him Big O. I'm successful. Let me replay it for my friends. Kevin Beal, we're getting back to Mostert for the Niners game. Sorry if you already addressed this. Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know how healthy Mostert will be for this game. Remember, Mostert is a guy that's had his share of injuries throughout his career. So you have to be very careful with him. I would imagine that's kind of what they were doing. Houston sucks. Why use him? Let's hold him out. He'll be fresher for the Niners game, the game we're going to need him a little bit more. We're going to need more versatility from the backfield with Wilson. And that way you'll have two guys playing against their former team, and they'll be super pumped up to play against their former team because that's just the way it goes. Tony says, nice Heat hat. Big O, Bam finally playing with some cojones. Let's see how long that lasts. Yeah. And let me tell you something. I was taking some notes here. And I can't wait to talk to Ira, not today, tomorrow. Remember, last time we talked to Ira, I told him, hey, man, Caleb Martin needs to be a focal point of the offense. We need to be a focal point. I don't care when everybody's healthy. Caleb needs to be part of the starting unit and part of the glue of that team. And I said this because the last time he was in a groove and then, people came back and he got injured and then he was never given the same amount of responsibilities in the offense. When he came back, it was more complimentary. I think Caleb Martin is a guy that can grow into one heck of a player for you. I'm not telling you he's going to become like this, all-world player or anything like that, but this is a guy that I think that can become a really, really good player for you overall. And maybe he's listening to our show because the last night against Atlanta, he shot 66% from three-point range. He shot 66% from the field, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He shot 63% against Washington the other night, 50% from three-point range, 20 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Then again against Washington, he shot 58% from the field, 44% from three-point range, 4 of 9, scored 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He fills up the entire box score. I think in the 9 assists, by the way, he only has 2 turnovers. So 9 assists to 2 turnovers is one hell of a ratio. The kid plays defense. He can rebound. He can score. He's super efficient overall. Okay? BlockFi has filed for Chapter 11 as expected. So you look at all of this, man, and I love what I'm seeing from Caleb Martin. The Bam one is a smaller sample size because it's only 2 games, but in the last 2 games, he has scored 32 and 38 points. He has shot 65 and 68% from the field, 8 and 12 rebounds. Doesn't really pick up block shots. That's not who he is. But here's the most important part. 13 of 20 and 15 of 22 for Bam. Remember, he taught the idea was to shoot at least 18 shots per game, and he's rarely done that the entire year. Well, he has now surpassed that for 2 straight games. Oh my God. And here's my entire part of this whole point that I'm trying to make. When Jimmy Butler does get back, Jimmy Butler can no longer be the guy that has to carry your stinking offense every night. Jimmy Butler needs to become a complementary player and an assassin by hire. And what I mean by that is, all right, we're at the end of a quarter. We need a basket. Jimmy, let's go. We're at the end of the game. We need a basket. Jimmy, let's go. We need a shot. Tyler, Caleb, other guys can take those shots from the outside. You don't want Jimmy Butler doing that. You want Jimmy Butler working inside. But what I don't want Jimmy Butler is working inside for 75 games and playing 40 minutes and having to score 27 points, 35 points every night. Can't have that. Can't have that. Then the man is worn out for the playoffs. Why did you sign Bam? Why did you sign Tyler? Why are you developing Caleb? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, maybe it's because they should be the core of your team. I mean, Kyle Lowry was nothing yesterday. He had some assists. That's about it. Shot poorly again from the field. He's unreliable. He's old. He's inconsistent offensively. So you can't count on Kyle Lowry every night, and you should not rely on Jimmy Butler every night. Jimmy Butler should be there as the guy that helps facilitate, play some defense for you, but don't wear his ass out. Save him for the playoffs. Save the assassin for the playoffs. Don't burn the assassin out before you get to the playoffs. He doesn't have a lot of gas left in the tank. Lowry, pretty much, his tank is getting to that red, that area where your low fuel light is about to go on. That's kind of what I see in Kyle Lowry. Give you a couple games here or there, but, not reliable week in and week out, day in and day out. No. But Jimmy can be that, but you don't want him that. No. So that's what I'm hoping that's what this turns the corner into, that they finally turn the team over to the young guys, and then Jimmy leads by, getting everybody else involved, which he's fantastic at being a facilitator, a glue person to all of this. And then when the tough moments come for defense or a tough basket is needed, Jimmy, here you go, baby. Here's your moment. And he's ready for it because he's always ready for that kind of stuff. But I don't want to go, hey, Jimmy, here's your moment after you've already shot, 12 of 22 from the field, and you've gone on the line and you're, 10 of 12 and you're beaten up. Oh, can you do one more for us? No, dude. No. That's got to end. It's got to end. If you keep doing that, then you don't have enough from Jimmy towards the end. And you've got to save him now. That's the only saving grace, by the way, of these last couple of games that he's been out. It gets his body some rest because he's got a lot of wear and tear. But unlike Lowry, he can come through for you. But, dude, save it. Save the bullets in the chamber until you really need it. And then when you need it, that's when you say, okay, the big cannon's coming out. Let's go. Come on, Jimmy. We need this basket. We need this stop, all these kind of things. And if he ends up with, pedestrian numbers on average every night, 14, 16 points and, 6 assists and 4 rebounds, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. If they're winning and all the other guys and Bam is actually like, oh, yeah, I'm going to strap on my cojones and here we go. If that's the case, then that's great. It's only 2 games with Bam. He could disappear again and go back to being passive Bam. I have loved what I've seen from Bam. I've loved what I saw from Caleb. Got a triple-double from Tyler yesterday. It's there. Start it. Start the youth movement. You've developed guys. Let's go. Let's give the young guys the responsibility that they need to have on their shoulders and stop putting it all, the entire weight of the world, on Jimmy Butler. That's what I've come to say and to realize the last couple of games as I'm watching some of these young guys play. I think that's the best way for the Miami Heat to go farther down the line. Let's see. Big O, talk about the post-game interview from Tua. That was great content. Lester, did you listen yesterday? It's in the post-game show. We have that. I am going to talk a little bit about that also. Do want to tell you, folks, Welton Rayom is a proud sponsor of our program. We tell you all the time about the Welton Rayom text line, which, of course, you can chime in at 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. Now, they do it all. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage. We saw it firsthand. Brother, they made Progressive buckle completely. Okay, Progressive was ready to screw us over. I mean, absolutely screw us over. And I told the wife, no, we're calling the lawyer. This is, look, the only thing is, like, I had to, you married? Okay. So sometimes when the wife wants to do something, you're like, you pick and choose your battles. You know what I'm saying? So I told her, hey, let me call Welton Rayom. No, I can handle this myself. So that's where you just take a step back and you let her make her mistake. You know what I mean? I don't want you to make the same mistake we did. Okay. So once she called and then she started to see the runaround that she was getting, she goes, oh, these people. And I go, that was your last phone call. You're not calling them ever again. She goes, what? I go, I'm calling Welton Rayom. I told you already. You got your chance. Okay. You didn't get anything done. You got the runaround, right? They want to give you a fraction of what it takes to fix everything. Okay. Let's call Welton Rayom. They brought them to their knees. In fact, the guy that was negotiating was so bad, he got his ass fired. Okay. That's how badly they schooled that guy and Progressive. And they were offering us 15% of what we really got. Thanks to Welton Rayom. I'm just telling you, man. So call them if you have an accident, you call them first before you call the insurance companies. They have their own adjusters. Okay, that's the other thing I experienced with Welton Rayom. They brought in their own adjusters, whether it's a car, whether it's a home, whatever kind of property. They have adjusters that understand all of those things. It's impressive. 954-966-4646. Condo damage, criminal defense. Maybe Odell Beckham wants to call him. Although I think they have a lawyer, but Welton Rayom would probably do a much better job. Business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Call them 954-966-4646. They're in Hollywood, serving all of South Florida. Welton Rayom, 954-966-4646. Oh, Alec Gingold had a very high blocking grade yesterday. Do you see McDaniel making him a primary blocker against San Francisco? Well, he's going to have to because they've got primary rushers coming after their ass. So he's going to have to pick up somebody along the way. So that will happen for sure. Richard says, Big O, I ordered a lumbar and red light therapy from Red Recover this weekend and saved $60. They wouldn't take the discount from you to do it. It was on sale. Hope it works. Oh, well, yeah, because they had probably a a Black Friday sale. So yeah, it's way better than 10%. So yeah, if you save $60, that's more than 10% because the wraps aren't that expensive. They're not $600. No. So they're a lot less. A lot less. So yes, check it out, man. Go to redrecover.com. I don't understand why any of you, if you have some pain or discomfort from an injury or a surgery, red light therapy is freaking amazing, dude. Seriously, the 15 minutes every day, it changes your life. It really does. Go to redrecover.com. Find out about it. More people that you'll tell other people, and it'll catch on. Alpha is giving us a Justin Herbert update. He was 2 of 6 on passes past 15 yards with 1 TD versus the Cardinals. Hey, but he won yesterday. He got the 2-point conversion, Alpha. So at least he did something clutch. Let's see. I can't believe Tua almost blew out both his knees, get up like nothing happened, and have the presence of mind to stop the clock for a field goal. Tua's cojones couldn't fit inside McDaniel's book bag. Yep. Now, Tua's got some big cojones, bro. I mean, he gets tackled, bent up, and he says, I was just thinking of spiking the ball. It's like, what? Like, really, dude? Can you imagine a soccer player getting bent up like Tua? He'll be rolling around for like 8 years, bro. If that happened in the World Cup, not that that's going to happen in the World Cup, but let's just say guys collided and one guy got all bent up like that. Oh my God. They would have got him on a stretcher. They would have taken him to the hospital. He would have been in the hospital for about 8 weeks in traction. It would have been covered by all the Sky News and everybody else. And, it would have been like the biggest thing out there. They would have dealt out like double red cards, something they've never done. They would have thrown out the player and the coach. And, this would have been like a big scandal. Tua just gets up. Hey, I got to spike the ball. That's the difference between American football and football, okay? In football, well, they take the punishment and they want to get back in there. In soccer, they cry like little bitches, even when they don't get hit. Because the acting job is just as important as the actual injury. It's absolutely amazing. Damn. I think if that would have happened in soccer, he also would have sued FIFA. He would have sued the other team. He would have sued the player. I mean, Jesus Christ. You would figure that in soccer, they're all Cubans by the exaggeration that they do out there. Because that's one of our faults as Cubans. We exaggerate about everything. If a soccer player was bent like Tua, Qatar would have had him banned probably, yeah. Did you see that Iran wanted to get the U.S. banned from the World Cup? Because apparently Iran, put their flag and then put, something that they were pro, and they were, insulted by the pro stance of, I forgot what it was. And so Iran wanted to, wanted to tell FIFA to ban the U.S. from the World Cup. And today they got to beat Iran at 2:00 or they are done. We shall see. Richard Saylor says, Big O, I was ordering the Red Recover for my back. I asked them if I could use it on my knees too, and they said yes. There you go. Yeah, that's the good thing about some not all the wraps, but some of the wraps are actually multifaceted wraps. Like I know that the shoulder one, you can use it also for your knee, or the I think it's the elbow one also for your knee too. It's pretty cool. It's the elbow for your knee. I think that's the way it is. But yeah, it's cool that you can actually use them in different parts of your body. And Lord knows, man, as we get older, or if you have an operation or an old injury, those are things that get in the way every day. And my wife uses it now on the bottom of her feet because she's a teacher. So she's standing all day. So she's using those every day when she comes home. Razzle Dazzle Crypto says, watch the 49ers yesterday. Good team, but don't understand the Super Bowl hype they get. Razzle, it's because of their overall talent. I know what you're saying, Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's what stops you, whether maybe you're not even looking at the talent. You're saying, oh, yeah, good overall team. Yeah, all right. And it's because of Garoppolo. Because Garoppolo falls short all the time. And because Garoppolo never gets you over the hump. And because of that, you really don't believe in the 49ers simply because of that guy. And you keep remembering Emmanuel Sanders and him overthrowing, which would have set him up. And then all the other stuff that has come out with Jimmy, you know what I mean? That he doesn't really, eat and breathe and live football. The story that came out when the day he signed his big contract with them, he disappeared after that for a couple of months. Nobody could reach him, nothing. He didn't return any calls. And that's not what a quarterback's supposed to be in the NFL. The quarterback is supposed to be the end-all, be-all guy no matter what, every single day of his life while he's there. He's supposed to set that example, and he's not the guy that sets that example. Because football for him is not the end-all, be-all. And so these are the things that knock us, that force us to knock the 49ers off that pedestal. But if you just looked at the talent, Super Bowl. Yeah. Well, they have enough to be a Super Bowl winner, for sure. It's up to Jimmy to make the plays, but they have enough to be a Super Bowl winner. There is no doubt in my mind on that. Will they win the Super Bowl? Well, that's because you and I look at them and say, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to F it up at one point or another. And that's what's going to happen with all of us until Jimmy proves us wrong. And when he does, that's when you'll say, oh, okay. And that's the difference. That's really what it's all about. It's the Garoppolo, factor. And I'm a big Garoppolo guy, but I've come to the point where, yeah, he's a good quarterback. He can make all the plays, but I don't know about the clutch. That's the part that I don't know about, that clutch gene with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's like kind of a facilitator on his best day, but something happens in those key moments and he doesn't make the throw he needs to make. So, sucks. Big O, I think the USA play. Oh, it's tomorrow? Oh, okay. My bad. I don't know why I thought it was today at 2. Tomorrow. That's right. It is Tuesday. You are correct. You are correct. Yes. Yes, that's right, because I am going over to Hijinks tomorrow in Boca. So I will be, when we get off around 1, so I will probably be in Hijinks in Boca around 2:30. Between 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'll be there at Hijinks in Boca. So if you happen to be in the Boca area, you live or work in the Boca area, I'm going up to Hijinks Sports Grill in Boca, and I'll be there by 2:30, I say. It's easily an hour drive from my house. Easy an hour drive. So 2:30, I'll definitely be there. Joshua Lucky says Finns Niners should be in prime time over Dallas Indy. NFL should pull the plug, possibly. Super Bowl preview. Coach Mike will get creative and find a way to neutralize Boza and that high-flying D for sure. I hope so. I hope so, because it ain't going to be easy. Jimmy G is actually having a good year. 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. No, he's having a very good year. 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio is excellent, man. But that's not the point. It's not about the stats. It's about the clutchness. And that's where, he gets knocked out. Nico Jones, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says the Tua Flores story is disgusting. I can't believe he'd try to sabotage Tua's career. I hope lawsuit happy Flores gets sued by Tua now. Thank you, Nico. Appreciate it. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Big O, I was at the game yesterday, and I believe that McDaniel will put together a game plan that will define the season, says BipBop66. Despite the O-line, Tua will manage the game, as I don't really see a high-scoring game next week. I hope so. I hope you're right. Do want to remind you, folks, as we see the super chats coming in, and we appreciate them immensely, but you could also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. Wait a minute. What the hell is this now? Hold on. So Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. A buddy of mine sending me Metallica tour dates, and I was thinking, okay, wait a minute, are they coming here? But no, they're not coming here. So I was like, okay, because I'm ready to go again. Ohio John on Venmo, thank you. He says, having the right coach is a key for these young QBs' development. You see it with McDaniel and Tua, but you also see it what Doug Peterson is doing with Trevor Lawrence so far this season, as opposed to Urban Meyer. Great point there, John. You are correct. He's giving Trevor Lawrence a much better place to be in as a quarterback, and obviously a much better platform to learn from and become a player. So I am 1,000% with you, my brother. Okay, no doubt. And thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. And remember, you can always send Bitcoin over on Cash App. Those are my favorite donations. Speaking of Bitcoin, where are we at this morning? Because we really hadn't moved much. But I know now with BlockFi going and filing for Chapter 11, I'm interested to see how the market responds to that. Yeah, Bitcoin's still in the 16,000 area. Ethereum, what is it, right around 11? Yeah, high 1100s, almost 1200. That's really hasn't moved much. Some of the altcoins, man, there are some great deals going on right now, dude. Some awesome deals right now with altcoins, and they could go down a little bit more too. You never know, but interesting times. All right. Let's talk a little Tua from yesterday, right? And let's get into a little bit about what happened yesterday with the CBS broadcast. And I talked about this some yesterday. You can go back to the postgame show and check it out. I don't know where it's at. I think it's like in the latter part of the first hour. Sean probably cut it up. It's probably one of the individual segments, I'm sure. Right, Sean? You cut it up, right? The one yeah, of course he did. He's freaking awesome. And so we talked a little bit about it. And also last night I retweeted a segment from a year ago, in December of last year. You should go listen to that segment. It's there on my Twitter page at Big O Show. It's up on the timeline. It's one of the newer ones. And you need to really listen to that entire segment. For those of you that are new to the platform and you've only been watching for a couple weeks, a couple months, a half a year, you weren't with us last year while I was pretty much telling you that Flo was going to get fired and pretty much telling everybody week to week throughout the season that Flo was raising hell in that building. And he wasn't really getting along with most people in that building. Hell, even Marcel Louis Jacques reported that after Thanksgiving, he wasn't even actually communicating with his coaching staff. But you should listen to that segment. It's there. And yesterday in the CBS broadcast, they talked a little bit about how Tua was very open with them about how he even questioned his confidence, that he was wondering, am I this bad? Do I suck this bad? And that McDaniel had to answer with when McDaniel got there, he kind of felt that, and McDaniel explained it without necessarily trashing Flo, because, Flo really needs to be trashed thoroughly for all of this because he was so irresponsible and terrible in this whole situation. He really could have sabotaged Tua's career and sabotaged the Dolphin fan base, because we have not seen a franchise quarterback since Marino. This guy could have effed up the only chance that they've had in the last 25 years. And we don't know when you're going to get another one. as much as I love this front office, I think it's a great front office. But damn, dude, you're asking them to, oh yeah, go find us another franchise quarterback right away. Really? Okay. That's not an easy thing to do. And so yesterday, Tua talked about the basics, the foundation to every and any relationship in the history of time. Go ahead, Sean. Play Mr. Tua Tagovailoa yesterday in the postgame show.
I thought it was cool. I think anyone here can attest to someone believing in them, and how that changes how they see themselves, but also things around them. So perspective. But it was awesome. There's a lot of details that entail, me sitting down with him and other things as well. But it's awesome. It's really cool.
Was that the first step to?
All right, so today? We got so listen. I've gone over this last year. Not now. This is stuff that people are now talking about and rehashing and all this stuff. I find it hilarious because this is a year later from our show. We were talking about all of this while it was going on. We were telling you about what was going on behind the scenes inside that building. And again, go to that segment. It's there on our Twitter timeline. And folks, this is the ultimate crime in any relationship. I don't care if it's, your pets. I don't care if it's your kids. I don't care if it's your coworkers. I don't care if it's your boss. I don't care, whatever it is, coach and player. There has to be something that nurtures that relationship. And that was the problem with Flo. There was no nurturing whatsoever because it was his way or the highway, and he had already given up on him. And by the way, it was a Flo thing to do because he gave up on Josh Rosen right away too. But he was right on that one. But on this one, he was wrong. And this one was a little bit more personal because for him, he wanted Jordan. And when he couldn't get Jordan Love and they wanted Tua, that was it right there. And he basically, didn't give the kid a chance. And that's why I fought for 2 years for this kid, because I could be concerned about his injury history and all that other stuff, but I was never concerned about his game. I knew he could play. But you got to, and you know what? Listen, I'm happy that, in a way, a guy that, made me nervous when they drafted him, obviously because of the injury history, but my ignorance to his injury history, because it was ignorance. Let me explain that. Because while I was convinced he was an injury-prone player in college, which he was, and then he had his injuries here, the injuries here really made me understand what Saban was talking about. And Saban mentioned it to all of us in the pre-draft process that, he has the one thing that he holds on to the ball. And yet we kind of swept it under the rug. And then, here he goes in his career, and he has then these other injuries, right? And that's when I went to the lab, and we then, okay, well, wait a minute. How long did he hold the ball for the hip injury? How long did he hold the ball for the ankle injuries? How long did he hold the ball for this concussion? Oh, wait a minute. Now he's not injury prone, but he puts himself in an injury situation because he holds on to the goddamn ball. And so even with me, I was nervous about that, but never nervous about him as a player. I knew he can play. I watched him at Alabama. You don't throw like that if you're not special. And he's special. And that's where Flo failed. Flo could not see that the kid was special. And then Flo also failed because he couldn't build an offense around the kid. And possibly could have ruined it. As I tweeted out yesterday, the greatest transaction in Miami Dolphins history was the firing of Brian Flores. That is the greatest transaction. Well, maybe second. Let's go with Shula as always the number one transaction because you traded for that guy and he created a franchise. He made that logo matter. You know what I'm saying? So Shula would have to be the most important transaction. But second most important transaction, well, the most important in the modern day Miami Dolphins will be this one of firing Brian Flores because that opened the door for somebody who is willing to give people an opportunity, has the patience, and by the way, has the vision. Because that's where you've got to give Mike McDaniel a lot of credit and take it all away from Flo. This guy saw what Chris Greer and Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie saw. They saw a special player, but you needed the right coaching staff to bring it out of him like any other player. Lots of players can end up on the wrong franchise and the wrong scheme, and they never perform. And by the way, this also makes you admire Tua even more. What an example. What an example. What a leader. What a winner. A guy that could have pointed fingers, could have blamed others. Never did any of that, bro. Never went after Tua, never went after Flo. None of that, dude. Kind of now there's little backhanded shots now. But guess what? He's entitled to them. Flo, you treated him like shit. He's entitled to take his shots at you now. And this, I hope Flo is big enough to one day approach Tua and truly apologize and say, "Hey, man, I was wrong." I would admire Flo for that. Actually, he would get back in my good graces, put it that way, if he was man enough to admit that what he did here was absolutely wrong on every level. And his treatment of Tua was disgusting. I think that's where I would admire Flo, that he would say, "Hey, you know what? That was my fault. I was a bad coach here. I had a great player and I didn't understand it. I could not build an offense. I failed the player. I failed the team. I failed the franchise. I now understand what went on. And and clearly you see what is going on in Miami. I did not get it." I would appreciate Flo if he did that. You know why? Because I'm going to do that. You're going to do that. We're all going to screw up. We're all going to read something wrong. We're all going to make mistakes, right? But it's kind of the idea is to admit when you make the mistake and then try to fix it. And by the way, how could you ever trust Flo again to be a coach if he's not willing to admit when he's wrong? That will show zero accountability with any other franchise out there. Not that he has any shot at ever being a head coach again. He's done. It's over. He never had a shot in the first place, but after watching what's going on here in Miami, oh my God, they're definitely, it will never happen again. The level of incompetence was way too high for you to even take that chance again. All right, let's see. Okay. Big O, teams have taken away the deep ball since the Ravens game, and McDaniel and Tua are eating up the 20-yard center field area. Teams are playing off the ball at least 15 yards. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, they've hit a couple, I think, but they haven't hit as many. I mean, well, they hit a deep one yesterday. Waddle hit he caught a deep one yesterday, so they did hit a deep ball yesterday. They are still being attempted, those deep balls, so they are keeping them honest whenever they have that chance. But yeah, listen, nobody has been, Will, a bigger surgeon in the middle of the field than Tua Tagovailoa, which is incredibly dangerous. But he has been so deadly and so on target that you can get away with it. And as a coach, you have the confidence of keep calling those kind of plays with all of that, which is incredibly impressive. Z-Fan says, good luck getting an apology from a narcissist, Big O. Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. I'm with you there. Drago says, Big O, you're correct. Flo firing was one of the biggest moves in Dolphin history. Now is when Stephen Ross should say that McDaniel reminds him of a young Don Shula. Not yet. Not yet. Okay? Not yet. Let's wait till McDaniel's holding up the trophy, okay, in February 13th. All right? And we're there covering it, Sean Stanley and myself. And then he says, as the season went on, he started to convince me that he was not only a great coach, but he's going to be another great coach in Dolphin history, another Don Shula. And boom. And there you go. But let's wait till they're lifting the trophy. Remember, party at my house in Arizona. That's all I got to say. All right? Some of you will get a special invite, a private invite. We can't invite thousands, but you will get a special invite if you're in Phoenix for the week of the Super Bowl to watch the Miami Dolphins win the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys know this. Did some of you know this? Yeah. No, the Dolphins are winning the Super Bowl this year. I'm just want to make sure you know it, okay? If you might be making some kind of plans in February, trips to somewhere, you might want to cancel those plans. You might want to go to Arizona. I'm just saying. Waddle dropped 2 passes for 2 that would have been 350 yards in the first half. Yeah. Waddle has that, by the way. Waddle has this thing. Let's do this real quick. Let me take a quick break because it's already 11:05, top of the hour. Let's take a 2-minute break here, rest of voice. Hour number 2 of the Big O Radio Show right here on the Sports Talk 305 Network is next.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmith. In South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right, we are back, baby. Hour number 2 of the program. Ready to rock, ready to roll. Hope you all are doing well. We got the Steelers and the Colts tonight, 8:15. Got the Panthers tonight at 9:30, taking on the Oilers. Do you know the Panthers have lost 4 of 5? They're 6-9 in their last 15. Paul Maurice, you better get it going, baby. Let's go. Just because your song, goes with a Steve Miller Band song doesn't mean, your name goes with a Steve Miller Band song. You don't get a break here, Paul. Let's go. You got to do better, man. Lost 4 of the last 5. And that Blues lost the other night on Saturday with that big-ass lead. Damn, dude. Let's go. Pick it up. Panthers, by the way, are 10-8-3, kind of pedestrian so far this season. So we got that going on. What else? You guys, what were we touching on? Somebody mentioned something. What was it before we went to the break? And I wanted to get into it a little bit, but I wanted to wait till let's see. Be sure to tell Big O how to do his show. That's the best way to get an invite to Arizona. Big O, I'm booking my flight to Phoenix to party at your crib in February. Let's go. Let's go. Big O, you were right about getting a coach with a Rolodex. Well, yeah, man. I mean, if you can't put together a staff, there it is. You're screwed. Nico was talking about it. Waddle. Daniel Barrios, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says Big O2 has definitely learned to throw it away. I know, right? So awesome. That is so awesome. That play yesterday where he avoids, and I'll get to the Waddle thing in a second here, but that play yesterday where he avoids the two defenders and then throws it away made me super, super excited because this is the guy that will lead you, as I put yesterday, that's going to lead you to the Super Bowl. This is the guy that is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I said it already. Yeah, I said Tua's great. I said Tua's going to be Montana. Yeah, I said Tua's going to lead the Dolphins to a Super Bowl. And yeah, I said it. Tua will go to the Hall of Fame. Yes. Okay, that's fine. I'll go on that limb. I was on that limb last year and the year before. Last year I would tell all the beat guys that would come on, that if you got Tua and you put them in Tennessee, they'll go farther in the playoffs. You know that if you put them on the Rams last year, they easily win the Super Bowl, just like they did with Stafford. If they put him in Minnesota, he goes farther than anything Kirk Cousins did. Now they all believe me. Right? Now they all believe me. Because Matt Stafford doesn't ever play like this. Anyway, so this is the guy that is going to end up, boom, voids one, and then the second guy he's barely even looking at, and he throws it away. That's the guy that is going to lead you to a Super Bowl title. That's the guy right there. That guy will lead you to a Super Bowl title. That was a beautiful thing yesterday that he did. He avoids 1-2. You know what the other Tua does? The crazy ass warrior Tua. He effing holds on to the ball and still tries to make a play, and then he gets clobbered by somebody. Why? Because he had already attempted fate right there. That's it. You already did it. You avoided one. You looked at the second. And notice how that second guy, you can go back and look at it. I can't keep putting the play on because then they'll get all crazy about it. And so you look at it, it's on my Twitter feed. He barely is even looking at the second guy coming at him. It's peripheral. And he avoids it by glancing and still looking front and center. And clearly when he got out of there, he's just like, let me throw this thing away. I was super excited about that play. I was like, yeah, this kid has figured for the last few weeks, he's gotten rid of it. He slides. That's it. We're done. What his dad could not convince him to do, somebody in the Dolphin organization or his wife, remember we talked about that, or his wife reached him. Somebody reached Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know who reached Tua Tagovailoa, okay? Maybe he watched our segment and said, wow, O is right. Every time I hold on to the goddamn ball for 4 or 5 seconds, I'm in the hospital. Yeah, that's the correlation. If I hold the ball for 4 or 5 seconds, I end up in the hospital. Not a good thing. Figured it out. Yeah, that was awesome. That's as good to me as the bomb to Waddle. That's as good to me as a bomb to Tyreek Hill. That's as good as me as 3rd and 22 and 4th and 7 this year. Okay, I'll take that play as much as I'll take all those other plays. Do you know why? By him doing that play right there, he lives to throw 4th and 7. He lives to throw 3rd and 22. He lives to throw for 300 yards in a half and just say, yeah, I'm done. That's what he lives to do. He lives to play this week against the Niners. Because maybe if he holds on to the ball after avoiding that second defender, he then is no longer available for the Niners. Somebody convinced him, or he finally convinced himself and looked in the mirror and said, I've got to do this. If I don't do this, I will not have a career. It is beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Tua in the pocket is like trying to take candy from a 2-year-old. Very slippery. Yep. It reminds you a lot of Marino. Marino is not athletic at all. Marino isn't going to be running. But, brother, he could slide and move and just pop, and it just 2 feet over, slide to the right, boom, step into the pocket, bah, that's it. That was Marino all the damn time, and Tua can do the same thing, but you got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. And finally, Kenny Rogers and him woke up, and he knows how to fold them now, which is pretty damn cool. So, Daniel Barrios, who sent in the super chat on that, you are correct, sir. He has learned to throw the ball away, and it is just absolutely heaven that he does that. I just looked, and according to PFF, Waddle is actually one of the sure-handed receivers in the league, ranked 5 out of 61 catchable balls. He's only dropped 5. Yeah. Well, I see the problem, Dougie Fresh, is he's dropped more than that, actually. I don't trust PFF on all this stuff, too. He's actually dropped more than that. I'm pretty sure of that. Because alone in 2 games, I already have 4 drops. So, yeah, I don't know how they measure it. See, the problem with PFF, I don't know. That to me is that's arguable. Okay, I think he's dropped actually more. Tua, by the way, is one of the quarterbacks with the most drops in the NFL, along with Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. All the great ones. All the great ones that pass a lot, and Tua missed 3 games. But the Dolphins, yeah, they are one of the top teams in drop passes. Now, they pass a lot more than others, just like some of those other teams. But it's interesting how some of the best quarterbacks in the league, including Tua, like I said, all the best quarterbacks, they have their share of drop passes, which is pretty amazing. And if those guys caught the balls they're supposed to catch, there are some tough ones that you can't. Okay, well, that was a tough catch. Let me tell you, the rifle he threw a short yardage, I almost blame Tua for that one, actually. Really, that one was he threw that one a little too hard for the short distance that it was. He made it harder on the receiver on that one. The deep one, obviously, you've got to. Wow, what a pass by Tua to get it over the defenders right into Waddle, and he dropped that. That one was tough. I think he's dropped more than 5. If I go through the games, I would say it's more than 5, Doug. I would say that's inaccurate. I would disagree with that one. Daniel Barrios, also another super chat. He says the TD pass did have me yelling, throw it away. Marino had the best pocket presence. Marino's radar was stupid. It was just stupid. I don't know how many times Marino had the defender literally a foot away before he released it. I don't know how many defensive ends must have just hated Marino because he saw them coming with the eyes in the back of his head. And I don't know how he did it. But that guy had a sixth sense of when the pocket was crumbling and when he had to get rid of it. And, brother, Marino was not going to take stupid sacks. Ever. Ever. If you got Marino, it's because, brother, you earned it. You got there, and you got there so quickly that his radar didn't pick it up. It's the greatest radar I have ever seen in my life. Never seen a quarterback like that guy. Never will see a quarterback like that guy. Sick. Absolutely sick. Marino was most likely talked to him. Remember, Dan Marino's a huge fan of Tua, so I'm sure he wants nothing but the best for Tua and continue to see him shine. To extreme. You might be onto something. I just thought about something. So McDaniel came up with 700 plays of Tua to prove how much he was great. They should have come up with 7,000 plays of Marino throwing the ball away. Because it literally existed. Okay? That you literally can come up with 7,000 highlight films of Marino throwing the ball away. And I bet I would show that to Tua and it would put him to sleep because he'd be in the film room for 4 days watching it. 2 hours in, hey, what? You see, he's throwing it away again. Look, see. 2 hours later, Tua's falling asleep. Yo, what? See, this is 88, and he's doing it. All right. 7 hours later, they wait. Hey, see, it's 91. And see, he's doing it. He's throwing it away. They're feeding Cuban coffee to Tua. They're shoving caffeine all over the place. Stay up. You got to watch this. You got to watch the whole film. Look, Marino threw the ball away 7,000 times in his career. Don't you admire him? Huh, Tua? Yeah. I love Dan. Okay, I'll throw it away. Stop it. That's probably what happened one weekend. They tortured him with Marino throwaways. You're on to something too extreme. I think we figured it out right there. Sometimes you capture terrorists, and what you usually do is play a Middle Tennessee State game to make them give us up all the information, right? Because they don't want to watch that. And then, you got to come up with other ways to make people break. And that's what they did. They put Tua in a film room. They locked him up for an entire weekend, and he had to watch all of Dan Marino's throwouts. All the way from Pittsburgh, too, by the way. I heard that they used some from Pittsburgh. I heard that they went back to the Vikings, his high school team. I know they were the Vikings. What was the name of the Marino high school team? Sean, give me 30 seconds here.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, yeah, I got the answer. There we go. It was Central. This is Marino's jersey in high school. There you go. See? Vikings. I do not mislead, man. I know. All American. There we go. It's actually a pretty cool jersey. I got to frame it. One day I got to get it signed by Marino and then frame it. I knew it was something with the Vikings. See, we got props and everything on this show. Central Catholic. There you go, George. William Youngblood. There you go. I just want to have some fun and just whip out the jersey itself. You know what I mean? We can do some things that others can't. I like the fact that Tua is throwing the ball away and not trying to do too much when there's nothing there. Yeah, his completion percentage takes a hit. But, dude, his completion percentage is like 70%, 71. He can afford to throw a couple balls away. Imagine if they caught the balls that they drop. Tyreek also had one of his drops, man, he got whacked yesterday badly. God, he took a wicked hit, dude. That was a wicked, wicked hit. Big time way. Big O, I've heard the 49ers have a couple of guys on their O-line battling injuries. Do you know if it's true? I can look it up, but right now it's not important, bro. Let's wait till Friday, and then we'll find out who's practicing and who's not and all that stuff. Right now, really, it's a waste of time. Let's see what happens throughout the week of who's practicing and who's not, and then we'll get really the skinny. Right now, it's really you're wasting your time because you don't really know how serious any of these injuries are. When we see them not practicing throughout the week, if that's the case, then I think we'll have a better feel, my friend, for where they stand. But right now, it's not really worth delving into until we get later into the week. Anyway, what else do we have going on in the world of sports? Oh, the other thing I want you to know, because I don't know where these Dolphin fans come from. And let me tell you something that's really cool about being an older fan compared to some of you younger fans. And I'm getting it from some of the younger fans. You don't really get this a lot from the older fans. The younger fans are complaining about, oh, you looked, like Tua, you took him out too early. You're overthinking this. You let them back into the game, which, by the way, they never really had a shot at winning the game. It was never really threatened whatsoever. It's 30-15. They needed 15 more. They needed another 8 points to kind of make it interesting, and they never got that. Okay. So, bottom line, one of the things that I think some of you, and I don't know what the hell's going on, you've had a shitty team for a quarter century. You've had a terrible franchise for a quarter century. Any of you complaining about anything with the Dolphins right now, you don't deserve to have this season. 8-3 is phenomenal. 8-3 is heaven. And they did the smart thing in the second half. Their O-line got discombobulated. Tua was all of a sudden now taking all kinds of shots, which he was untouched for weeks. Why? You're up comfortably. Brother, your team should be good enough. The first team offense did their job. They put 30 on the board. You're a defense. You're not even supposed to allow the Houston Texans to threaten you. And they got some points. It was over. They got it done. Whatever. But I don't care who you beat in the NFL. The Jags beat the Ravens yesterday, 28-27. Beat them to the point that Lamar Jackson was mother effing a fan on his way out. The Raiders, the Seahawks are having a really good season, and they need these wins in order to kind of lock themselves into the playoffs. Well, they go and lose to the sorry-ass Raiders, 40-34. The Bucks, Tommy Boy, he lost Giselle. He lost his money with FTX, and he lost yesterday to the Browns and Jabroni Brisket. He lost to a jabroni. The Dolphins pounded a jabroni 2 weeks ago. Just because you're supposed to beat a team doesn't mean you always beat them. It's the NFL. Others can surprise you, like the Browns, like the Raiders, like the Jags. Bad teams can surprise you. By the way, did the Dolphins not lose to some guy called Stanky Fingers last year in London? Yeah. And they were better than the Jags at that point. Now, they had terrible coaching, but the coaching you have now is getting the job done. And they're winning the games they're supposed to win. They've only lost the games when they don't have their quarterback. Because as you can see, there's a drop-off if you lose Brandon Jones. There's a drop-off if you lose Teron Armstead, and there's certainly a drop-off every time you lose Tua Tagovailoa. And you've watched it every time. And we like Skyler, but he's still green. He still has to learn. He missed open guys yesterday. Throws he's supposed to make, but he's young. Crap happens, dude. But please appreciate what's going on. 8-3. I think I read one of the writers locally, and I wish I could. I think it was Joe Shad, actually. I think he pointed out that it was 2001, the last time they were 8-3. It's been over 20 years the last time you were 8-3. Do not complain about a damn thing. Appreciate. This is awesome, dude. This is fantastic. Your first-year coach who has had a ton of adversity from off the field stuff from the beginning of the offseason with the owner's buffooneries and all that kind of stuff to everything, every other injury that's gone on this year, because the Dolphins get no breaks. None whatsoever, dude. I hate that. And that's the one thing the championship teams usually have, my friends. They usually get some luck with injuries. I'm hoping that the Dolphins' luck now starts here in the second half where guys start to get healthy and come back. Would be really nice. So please appreciate this. It's 8-3. This doesn't happen to us at all. I'm not even going to tell you ever so often. It hasn't happened in over 20 years. That's never. Never. I hope we don't have to wait another 20 years to go 8-3. Appreciate it, man. I don't know where it's going to end, but I'm ready for it to end in Arizona. I can tell you that. That's for damn sure. CuttersEdgePro.com. We love talking about CuttersEdgePro.com. Call Will or Mike right now. They will take care of you, man. Total landscape solutions, lawn and landscape maintenance for medium to large HOAs, condominiums, corporate parks, large commercial building complexes, and they do it all. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties, 954-472-0622. Call Will. Ask for Will, ask for Mike. They will take care of you. Tell them that Big O sent you. Outdoor lighting, irrigation, artificial grass. Oh, man, I love the artificial grass. My dogs love the artificial grass. They get to run around, roll around, have some fun. And you save yourself a lot of money in the long term because you're not watering the grass every day. And you don't have to cut the grass every 2 weeks, right? It feels like here in South Florida, like every 2 weeks, you got to cut your grass easily. Well, man, you'll save yourself money in the long run, so it kind of pays off for itself. Call Cutter's Edge Pro. Tell them that Big O sent you. Tree trimming removals, landscape design, outdoor lighting, synthetic turf, irrigation design, and build, by the way. Go to CuttersEdgePro.com. Go also to Cutter's Edge Pro on Instagram, so you can see a lot of the projects that they've done. They did our home. They can do yours. You know, immediately when you do landscaping in your home and you redo that home of yours, it actually increases in value. And then the other thing that I've been able to do personally for myself is that we've been able to create kind of an oasis in our backyard now. And now it's a pleasure to hang out in the backyard, and there's plenty of trees and shade, so it kind of cools everything down. And it's a better atmosphere. I used to just close the shade of my backyard, of my sliding glass door in the backyard, because the backyard was so plain, it had no life whatsoever. Now I keep the shade open because it is just beautiful to see the landscape and the work from CuttersEdgePro.com. Folks, I'm telling you, you want to make a difference. You want to change the way you live at home, and nowadays you want to create more of an oasis in your home because the streets aren't necessarily the safest out there. So a lot of people are doing that, where they're creating more things to stay at home and have some more fun with friends and family members. 954-472-0622. We added a little putting green on the side of our house, so we get to hit the golf club, work on the short game. There's so many things that you can do, man. Cornhole, all kinds of stuff we do in the backyard now. So it's actually a lot of fun. Call the folks at Cutter's Edge Pro, 954-472-0622, and tell them that Big O sent you. Will or Mike will take care of you. Cutter's Edge Pro in Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach counties. Complaining now is like being poor, winning the lottery, and complaining you only won $2 million, not $3 million. Yeah, basically. I would agree with that 1,000%. I'm with you there. Hey, can you send Poopart a reminder there? I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's got something going on in camp or something, because we are supposed to get Alan Poopart on. I'm hoping for 14-3. Damn, do I think it will happen? Probably not, but it's possible. I don't want to lose anymore. 14-3, that would be awesome, dude. I got it. JN, all right. If they go 14-3, you definitely have an invitation for the party in Arizona. Now you got to get to Arizona. That's up to you now. But if they go 14-3, you're getting an invite for sure. Poopart is looking for his Expos hat. It won't top this commemorative 19 what is it? 19 what is it? 1991 hat. Okay. 1991, baby. Commemorative hat. It's a collector's item. Because the team started in 93, I believe, right? Something like that. All right. Let's go. It's the battle of the Marlins and Expos hats right now.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poopart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report exclusively on a Big O radio show.
Yeah, baby. There you go. See? Just for this segment, I whipped out my commemorative 1991 Marlins hat.
They started playing 93. How could it be 91?
Well, because remember, they started the whole Erie Sailors and all that kind of stuff. And so they were like promoting the franchise that it was coming. So I believe our Erie Sailors started in 91 with the minor. Remember that we first started with the minors for a year or two, and then we got our major league team. And so they dished out these hats in 91 to kind of promote that the Marlins were coming in 93. So how about that? So there you go. This is a 32-year-old hat almost, man. This is crazy.
Nice.
Oh, this hat is almost as old as Mike McDaniel.
Very good.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Let me put on my headsets to make sure I hear you perfectly here. Well, they got good news, right? With Teron Armstead, the strained pec is, because everybody was worried about the torn pec, and that would be, forget about it. That's catastrophic there. Yeah. So maybe back by the Chargers game, if maybe in a couple weeks or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how long a strained pec takes. Have you been able to inquire?
No, and the thing with pec strains is there are varying grades, and how long he's going to be out depends on the severity of it. It's not a great sign to me that they immediately ruled him out at the start of the second half. I think hoping that he only misses the 49ers game and then can come back against the Chargers sounds like a little bit of wishful thinking. I mean, that'd be great. Hell, if you could play effectively next Sunday, that'd be even more awesome. But I don't know. Hoping that Mike McDaniel will tell us more when he speaks in his weekly day after the game, media session later this afternoon. But we'll see. I'm not sure he's going to provide much more clarity than saying he's probably out for this week, and then we'll see from there.
Has he ever provided any clarity for any injury for you so far this year?
No, there have been. Yeah. I mean, he confirmed, but it's usually after it's leaked out to the national folks, and then he confirms it. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Right.
No, you're right.
Right. And that's right. It's just like, okay, so Rap Sheet and Pelissaro got the injury, and that's all you're going to get now. He's not going to say anything. He's not going to tell you when he's going to return. None of that. I mean, he just hasn't. That hasn't been his MO. So now let's play X's and O's now.
Mm-hmm.
And whether he likes it or not, and he got cocky yesterday and he stayed aggressive and paid the price, and Tua was getting slammed. He's going to have to adjust because now he's going to play an even better front seven this week than what he played against Houston. You got to go max protect here, bro. And if there was ever a team and a pair of receivers and a quarterback built for max protect, it's these guys right here, because there are no corners in the history of the NFL that are going to stay with those two guys step by step. Okay. And if you at least go and say, all right, we're going to play, I would imagine that Shell's going to play right tackle because that's where he belongs. And then on left tackle, you're either going to use Greg Little or Austin if he can come back. But then I'd use a sixth lineman. And I don't care if it's Austin. I don't care if it's Michael Dieter. I don't care if it's Durham Smythe. But I would be max protect, especially on that Bosa side. And I would have Bosa with double teams the entire freaking day and take my chances that way and see if I can actually win this game against San Francisco. But if I'm going to go in there with whatever 5 you want, I'm not comfortable whatsoever.
Oh, no, I agree. And then you saw how badly it dissipated and went to crap after Armstead left. I mean, the stat I came up with, or that I dug up, which is completely crazy. Like in the previous 4 games, 2 had been sacked twice. In the first 3 series without Armstead, he got sacked 4 times. I mean, and these were not coverage sacks. I mean, those guys were on him like fast. Like he never had a chance. And it was
year 1 and year 2 all over again.
It was, correct. And it's crazy. So your point makes sense. Obviously, if you max protect, then it allows more defenders to be on Hill and Waddle. I mean, they were both going to get doubled. I'll give you something else also to consider for X's and O's. Screen passes.
Yes.
Lots. A draw play here and there. Things like that. I don't think you're going to be able to feed on a steady diet of the 20-yard deep slant or deep in or crossing route where Hill and Waddle have been open the entire season. And if not them, then Trent Sherfield. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get a whole lot of those against the 49ers with the offensive line the way it's going to be. So there'll have to be some adjustment. And this is also a game where, and we saw some good signs yesterday. It was encouraging that the defense produced the 3 takeaways and the 5 sacks, because this could be a game where the Dolphins need to lean heavily on the defense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. You look at overall on offense. How would you handle it? Do you agree with me? Because see, one of the things that reared its ugly head yesterday, and it's really not their fault. It's kind of human nature. All right. And it just became like a domino effect. And I explained this in the postgame show, not to make excuses for people, but poor Brandon Shell. He has gotten in shape, earned the job, but was playing everything on the right side. And now, my God, now you swing him over to the left, and now he habitually has to change everything that he does, and he's really not a left tackle. So now he's in a position where it doesn't help him. Greg Little then is thrusted in. Greg Little hasn't played in weeks, and he's not very good. So all of a sudden now there he is. Skylar Thompson hasn't played in weeks. He gets in there, not sharp. He misses some open throws. You kind of saw that in the game, that some of these guys were thrusted into spots. And then unfortunately, because you haven't played in a while, and because you're not Don Strock or something, or you're not Jeff Ulenake or something, that you can like sit there and wait for, you can play 3 positions and just, Dellenbach, you need me to play this, that? Okay, yeah, I'm ready to go because you're a seasoned veteran. Those guys didn't have all of that kind of stuff going. You know what I mean? And even Austin Jackson, he doesn't have a lot of playing time over the last couple of weeks either. It was just a lot for certain guys to do. And then all of a sudden to make that quick transition and be effective. That was, I think, a real problem for them yesterday, that they had to count on so many people to play positions that really they weren't in a groove for at that moment.
Yeah, except, I will buy your point to a certain degree, but then the issue there is, let's be honest, Teron Armstead's a fabulous left tackle. It's not like he hasn't had injury issues. And if your solution is to have Brandon Shell replace him if something happens to him during a game, and we know Brandon Shell, as you mentioned very accurately, is a right tackle, not a left tackle, then should there not be a better plan in place than having Brandon Shell as your backup left tackle?
I think that they were afraid of putting Greg Little there. And so they said, well, let's try Brandon because, he's been playing well at right tackle. Maybe he can make the adjustment to left. No, he can't. And so I think that's the only reasoning I can come up, for it. You know what I'm saying? But they don't. I
would tell you though. Then if you're that scared of playing Greg Little, then develop somebody on the practice squad and I mean, I like Greg Little. He's a really nice guy. But if you're more comfortable playing somebody who's clearly out of position with Brandon Shell going from right to left tackle because you're afraid of what Greg Little is going to do to you, that's a problem.
Okay, so this week, let's assume that there's going to be injuries, so you're going to need your replacements. So this week, you go back to putting Shell at right tackle. So who's your left tackle?
Wish.
Some guy goes to me, oh, put Robert Hunt. I said, nope, you can't do that because now you start moving too many people. Plus, the pocket is the most important thing for Tua. And Jones, Hunt, and Connor keep that pocket solid. The edges, you can still play with it, with fullbacks, with chipping and all that. Plus, it allows Tua that even if he sees the pass rushers, he can step into the pocket that is there solidly. If you replace Hunt, it creates a problem. So you're with me, it sounds like. No moving Hunt. So who's your guy at left tackle then?
Richmond and Webb available? No, that's rough. It's rough because I don't know, because we don't know the status of Austin Jackson. It's kind of sounds not great. Injury happened late. I don't even know 100% sure if it's the same ankle, if it's another ankle.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah. If he doesn't play, you do what? I look at the practice squad, and I don't know that they have any options other than Greg Little and then Brandon Shell at right tackle, and then again, a lot of very quick passing, screens, draw plays, anything to slow down that pass rush.
Yeah, a lot of what we saw in the first couple of years, it's going to have to be that quick strike offense. I mean, he's been the best under 2.5 seconds as it is this year, but on Sunday he may have to go under 2 seconds, not 2.5. He won't have that extra half a second against those guys.
No, and the other issue is logically, if San Francisco knows this, you would expect them to crowd the line a little bit more and not give Tyreek and Jalen free releases off the line, while having help behind them, so if they get beat at the line. So no, it's going to be quite the challenge. It's going to be a challenge regardless, because Frisco, newsflash, is pretty damn good on defense, and now with all the issues on the offensive line, it's going to be quite the challenge.
We kind of went over it throughout the year, and I was talking to you and most of the guys, and I would tell you that he's running roughshod. It was what I would say through the building. I said that many times last year about Flo. And what are your thoughts on the whole CBS story, and then Tua being asked about it, and then Mike McDaniel, how he countered it with the 700 plays? When you start to hear about all of this stuff, does it make you almost admire more the player for being able to fight through all of this? Because for Tua to be able to fight through all of this, it's pretty special, I got to say, because I've watched Zach Wilson, how he acts. And then, and by the way, I can also watch a seasoned veteran like Aaron Rodgers, how he acts when he doesn't get his way. You know what I'm saying? And that dude had to fight through all that crap for the last 2 years. Your thoughts on that story?
No, there are a couple of things that stand out. Number one, for Tua, it says that there's a reason why he's always won big everywhere he's been, and he's got a great mentality and determination, and he's not somebody who's gonna. It's not about me, or causing issues, which is part of the problem that Zach Wilson is having. Like, you feel the offense let down the defense? No. Like Tua would not have answered that. Tua would have said, "Yeah, we need to help those guys out." And Aaron
did it
Rodgers,
yesterday. They did it yesterday. Yesterday, Tua and McDaniel both laid on the sword and said, "Oh, I've got to do better. We didn't put our guys in position," which is a bunch of bullshit. There's a bunch of guys that failed yesterday, but real leaders like your quarterback and your head coach, they've got to be lightning rods for your team, whether you like it or not. And you're the quarterback and you're the head coach. You need to take all the heat. You're going to get all the credit. You need to take all the heat for your guys, and they love that kind of shit. You know what I mean? They did it yesterday. They lied on the sword yesterday.
Right. Okay. Back to the other 2 points. The other 2 points I quickly had is, number one, it's not a good look if we're going to go ahead and throw all stones at Brian Flores for everything that happened and all the lack of belief in Tua. We need to also address other people in the front office and the coaching staff who let that happen. If we're going to be fair about this, that should not have been a situation that happened. Everybody should have been on board. Like, this is our guy and everything. And even this year, up to the point where they're still, they're still making a play for Tom Brady and then for Sean Payton. And then
owner, not the front office.
Okay,
Owner,
that's fair.
not
That's
the
fair.
front office.
The other important point is, don't think for a second that Mike McDaniel laying out this vision that he had for Tua, wasn't a key part of him getting the job, because he basically, he established, this is what needs to be done with Tua. This is what I'm going to do with Tua, and you see what kind of quarterback he's going to become. And lo and behold, that's exactly
basically McDaniel had the same vision the guys that drafted him had. That's basically what it was, that they finally both had. That was the problem with Flo. He didn't have the vision of Greer, Allen, and McKenzie. Those guys wanted Tua. It's all the periphery stuff. It was Flo for Watson. It was the owners for Brady. It wasn't, because obviously they were getting cock-blocked, just like Greer would get cock-blocked with Gase and Tannenbaum around constantly. Now it's his show, but it wasn't his show because they screwed up.
And this is what happens when you have an organization that's not on the same page. You keep spinning your wheels and spinning your wheels and spinning your wheels. It never
correct.
moves
And they
forward.
screwed up because they did the same thing with Gase, and now they didn't do it with McDaniel. With Gase and Flores, they both gave them power of personnel. And that was the mistake. This is where McDaniel does not have that. Greer learned his lesson and said, no, we're going to hire a guy. He can give us suggestions and all that, but we're going to draft the people that we want to draft. We're going to trade for the people we want to trade. We will obviously take suggestions from our coach if he likes Cater Kahu. We'll take suggestions from Mike McDaniel if he likes this running back or that receiver. Of course, we'll help him out with that. But we're going to get the players that we think are the best players for this team overall. To me, that was
here's important point. Important point also is and the other part too is like the Dolphins. Last year, it was weird because while they're half jonesing for Watson, they're also trying to do everything they can to help out Tua. They hired Charlie Frye. They drafted Jalen Waddle. Whereas this year, it was from the start. I mean, all in. Not only from personnel standpoint, but also from a public support standpoint, and that's made a huge difference.
Of course. My brother down in Coral Gables. Okay, I know Mario had a terrible year this year. He failed pretty much this year. But if he's going to succeed, this is what you got to do. You got to spend money as an administration. You got to improve the facilities. You got to have some NIL money. You got to pay for your assistant coaches. So they're doing all those things. So they finally did all the things they're supposed to do in order to win. Well, if you want your child to succeed, well, I hope you love them. I hope you support them. I hope you help them if they need help. That's kind of part of it. If you want your player to succeed, well, I hope you're going to help your player to, succeed by giving them what they need. You know what I mean? I to a certain extent, we can understand Aaron Rodgers' frustrations because they always fall short in providing weapons for the guy. And they never really give him big time weapons on a consistent basis. So I kind of understand his frustrations. Now, does he handle it the right way? No, not necessarily, but you got to support your people, bro. Employee, son, daughter, player, whatever it is. And finally, the Dolphins are doing the right thing.
No question. Aaron Rodgers is a different case. I mean, dude, they maybe didn't give him like a lot of high round wide receivers. They did give him Devontae Adams. They didn't give him a hell of an offensive line before it broke down with injuries. And then they gave him, $50 million a year. And then the guy with a brand new set of wide receivers, including a rookie second round pick, who's very raw with a lot of talent. And Rodgers couldn't be bothered to go to the OTAs to, work on the rapport. And
like I said, he doesn't handle, there are frustrations and I get it, but he doesn't handle it the right way is what I'm saying. And that's what I admire about Tua, that man, he has been, brother, he was dealt a terrible deck of cards for 2 years. And somehow or another,
he plowed through it, and he did. I'd say it was kind of. I was gonna say it was like sad to hear that like the startling comment that the CBS telecast made. It was like, him looking himself in the mirror and go, do I suck? I mean, damn.
It's tough, man. I mean, you're going through hell. The media's writing all kinds of shit about you. They're talking all kinds of shit about you. Fans are, calling you noodle arm and you can't take tough coaching, and you're hearing all this kind of shit. And as I've told you guys over and over, he listens, he hears.
They all do.
That's
I know.
That's what motivates his ass, bro. He hears it. Now, this bullshit that he doesn't, that's lies, bro. He hears it. That's why he plays like a maniac. And by the way, God, that was awesome yesterday. He avoids the two defenders and then throws the ball away. If that didn't convince you, he finally learned, because the last couple of weeks he's been throwing the ball away. He's been sliding. That play yesterday, I was very, very proud of him, bro.
Which play are you talking about?
The one where he's in the pocket. He dodges the first defender to try to sack him. Then the second one, while he's keeping his eyes out front, he sees the second one in the peripheral. He dodges him. He gets to the out of the pocket, and he throws it out of bounds right away. You don't remember that play?
No, the one play that stood out to me was a play where you meant, I think you referenced it earlier, where he got pressure from the edges, and he did a really very subtly swift move up in the pocket, and then he completed about a 20-yard pass to Cedric Wilson Jr. That But no, impressed me the most yesterday. That was a sweet play.
The one he avoids the sack and throws the ball away, because the old Tua would have, after he dodged 2 sacks, he would have held on to the goddamn ball, try to make a play, and he would have gotten walloped, because it would have been second 4 or 5 already in the damn pocket, and he throws it away. You should I have it on my Twitter feed. It's there, where I pointed it out, because to me that was just absolutely awesome. That's what's going to keep him alive. It's tough enough to stay alive in this damn game, as he got tripped up like a pretzel.
He took a very, very, very scary sack there. At that.
By the way, and the best part of it, he goes, all I was thinking about was spiking the ball to stop the clock.
Mm-hmm.
A freaking maniac, dude. It's like, I'm thinking, if that's a soccer player, the guy's in the hospital for the next 8 weeks.
No, he's rolling on the ground for 20 minutes.
Then go to the hospital for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're asking for red cards for the entire opposing team or something. I mean, if that happens in soccer, that would have been just absolutely terrible. All right. Mostert, you think they were kind of saving him for this week?
No, I don't think any decision was made with the next game in mind. I think he's got an issue that needs to be monitored, because it's a little bit worrisome. Again, he's been on and off the injury report with that knee the past few weeks, and he's got the history. So yeah. I'd keep an eye on him. I don't necessarily buy the idea that it was okay. We got a big game next week. No, I think he was just wasn't ready.
They've been so precautionary. That's why I ask you, because yesterday I told everybody, hey, don't panic yet about Armstead, because their history so far has been they take the precautionary approach with an injury, and let's hold you out, let's make sure you're good, and then we'll get you back. And that's what I was hopeful with the Armstead thing, and that's why I'm thinking with Mostert, it's like he's injured, but if it was a playoff game or something, he probably could suck it up. But because it's the Texans, we could get by with our backup running backs along with Wilson. Let's get him healthier for San Fran. That's the only reason I thought of it.
No, that's possible, and I think in combination with that is, like I said, it's kind of lingering a little bit, and if you keep playing him when he could play, but he's not completely right, then you're just delaying the time when he's going to be completely right.
Right. I'm with you there 100%. By the way, have you gotten Dolphin fans to be unhappy about how the win ended in the second half or something? Have you gotten that? Because I've gotten some of those fans, and it's like, and I remind them that the Browns beat the Bucks, the Raiders beat the Seahawks, and the Jags beat the Ravens. Okay. So, appreciate every damn win that comes. 8-3. I think it was Joe Shad that I saw it on. I think it was 2001 the last time they were 8-3. I mean,
sounds right.
You got to appreciate this, dude.
Oh no, that's not no. Do you know the one I saw that I was like, are you serious? The one I saw was the Skylar sucks.
Oh, come on,
bro. Dude, I'm like, really? Really, dude? Seriously?
He's a young kid, a 7th rounder. He'll be fine. You could tell that was nerves. He was just off a little bit. He was, he'll be fine. I'm not.
Behind an offensive line that can hold blocks. I mean,
that too.
Seriously, it's just.
That too. But he'll be fine.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They played like shit the second half. And then Houston's got the ball with like 5 minutes left, like at their 40-yard line, down 2 scores now, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah. And I tweeted out right there. I said they score a touchdown, they're going to bring Tua back, and sure enough, they said it after the press conference. Yeah, there was some talk. Hey, if they score here, we need you to get back in. And it reminded me, dude, was it? I talked about this in the postgame. Was it Matt Castle that came in and Jason Taylor intercepted him, took it for a touchdown, and then they had to bring Brady back? Or was it Jimmy Garoppolo that threw the interception? Taylor took it back for a touchdown, and they had to bring Brady back in a game that they pulled Brady against the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium. Do you remember that game that I'm talking about?
It wouldn't. I don't think it would have been.
I think it was Castle.
Yeah, I think that sounds more right.
I think it was Castle.
Might have been like I think it may have been like the 07 game where the Patriots won like 49-28 or something.
I don't know exactly the score, but I remember that Miami, like they were up by like 3 scores, and then here Jason Taylor intercepts Castle, takes it in for a touchdown, and they're like, oh no, we got to get Brady back in there again. And Brady comes in, drives him for a touchdown, and then he sits out for the rest of the game after that. But I remember that's what it kind of reminded me of. I'm like, oh my God, if Houston scores, this is where you got to like bring Tua back and hopefully behind that line, my God, if he can survive.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
That was the worst part about it. All right, what do you got going on?
Take a couple of hits,
What did you say?
I say you don't want to bring him back in and have him take a couple more hits,
Yeah, he took too many yesterday as it is. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated? AllDolphins.com. You must bookmark. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Busy day. So already up are the snap count observations, an updated look at the rest of the schedule with a lot of flex possibilities here. I'm seeing definitely one more primetime game the rest of the way. I'm seeing maybe 2 primetime games. And I don't know if the NFL will go as far, but there are 3 games that look to me like easily could be flexed. My writer, Dante Collinelli, is going to add a story on the defense and kind of like a stellar / breakout performance and a couple more things, including the Mike McDaniel press conference takeaways. Hopefully we get some more details on Teron Armstead. I'm sure he's going to be asked obligatory, is this the week Byron Jones starts practicing? We'll see. That'd be great. That kind of semi-makeup for Teron Armstead being out.
That would help out a little bit. That would be nice. That way you're going to get him in a couple weeks back onto the field. That would be awesome. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poopart NFL. Alan, as always, you're a stud. We'll catch up later in the week, my friend.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
You got it. There you go. The great Alan Poopart. Great breakdown. As always, hour number 3 is ready. We're going to start it off. And Andy Behrens is ready to go to talk a little fantasy football with our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. So line up those fantasy questions right now. Andy Behrens is next.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poopart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red, an infrared light, has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
PPR, draft, keeper, dynasty. It's the Sports Grill, Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Keep up with your fantasy football teams by visiting any of the 8 great Sports Grill locations. Sports Grill, good food, good drink, good friends. Here's Andy Behrens.
All right, there he is. He is locked and loaded, and this is a week where I get to talk about a guy named Zonovan. I mean, that's creative. Dad and mom, all right, we got to get creative. Oh, let's change the D to a Z. Instead of a Donovan, he's a Zonovan. And
it keeps auto-correcting to Donovan. That is a huge problem for me personally.
It is. And I'm sure it's a problem for Zonovan, too. Because he sends in his application, Donovan. It's Zonovan. Well, it says Donovan here. Oh, damn, autocorrect. That poor kid. It's like having a birthday in a leap year. Just happens once every 4 years. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. So you're really 10 when you're 40. Is that what it is?
I believe that is correct.
Is that how it goes?
I believe you can always. Yes, you're never allowed to get into a bar. You're not allowed to get into a bar until you're like 84.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's rough sledding there, dude.
Yeah. So
the first beer you have kills you. So that's what happens. Okay.
You have to share half of it with your wife. Yeah.
There you go.
Zonovan Knight.
At least none of you will have teeth or anything. So it's like you have your first beer when you have no teeth or anything. That's pretty amazing, dude.
I love that you dive right in with Zonovan Knight, who is probably going to be the most popular waiver ad this week. But crazy set of circumstances for the Jets on Sunday. First of all, James Robinson, a healthy scratch, right? A guy that they traded for just ahead of the deadline. Thought they were going to get something out of him. I will say he would have had a perfectly fine day against the Bears, and he probably would have had the same day that Zonovan Knight had against the Bears. And then the Jets also lose Michael Carter to an ankle injury during the game. So that left Zonovan Knight, rookie out of North Carolina State, and Ty Johnson, sort of a familiar face among the depth chart backs in New York as the only guys. Like, that was the 1-2 punch, and it was enough because they were facing the Bears. Of course, Bears have obviously ditched Roquan, they ditched Quinn, they lost Eddie Jackson in this game to an injury. So that's just a terrible defense. It had been a bad run defense all year. I understand that there's going to be some level of excitement for Zonovan Knight. I'll just tell you, his nickname in college was Bam, right? And he's got that style. He is a hard charging, bulldozing back. He's actually just a normal sized human being. He's like 5'10", 210, something like that. But he runs like he thinks he's LeGarrette Blount, right? He thinks he's like 6'1" and 230. So it's fun stylistically. He's not that inventive. He's not a creator out there necessarily, but he always falls forward, always gets a couple extra yards that way. Might be interesting against Minnesota. I don't want to make, oftentimes we just overhype the guys on the waiver wire or whoever the priority ad is on the waiver wire. And I don't really want to overhype him because I think James Robinson can do all these things and he's going to have to return next week, I would imagine. I think Ty Johnson can do all these things too. So I think Knight is going to be part of the rotation. I think he's going to be interesting. I don't consider it like an empty the wallet situation in fantasy.
All right. If you got fantasy questions, you can send them in right now on the Welt and Rayom text line at 855-912-1056. It's really easy to find the questions there on the Welt and Rayom text line. You can text from wherever you're at, 855-912-1056. Right here on the YouTube chat board. You can also send them in on the YouTube chat board. You can send a super chat with your question. A lot easier to find. You can do it on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. So many different ways to reach out to us and send in those fantasy football questions for Andy Behrens. And remember, you can also follow Andy at Andy Behrens on Twitter and catch his work there at Yahoo Sports. Mike White, what's the deal with Mike White? Is it a one-game wonder in your eyes, or does he become a fantasy option right now?
Well, he's got 4 career NFL starts. He passed for over 400 yards in the first one, passed for over 300 yards against the Bears just yesterday. So I guess what I'd say is that the Jets receiving core was never going to be unlocked with Zach Wilson. They have been unlocked with White. Do I think he's, a top 15 NFL quarterback, top 20 NFL quarterback? No. But I don't think it takes that to deliver a useful fantasy performance for Garrett Wilson. I think Wilson is really talented. I think, Elijah Moore woke up from his season-long malaise, right? So that was good to see. I mean, I think White, generally speaking, can run this offense. They're about to face a Minnesota defense that's given up a ton of yards all season. The only thing that Minnesota has really done well defensively is they've generated some takeaways, but they give up plenty of yards. So yeah, I think White can drive this thing. I think he's really established himself now. It was a great way to sort of break him into the season because again, the Bears are just a non-competitive defense right now. And the degree of difficulty is going to be ratcheted up a little bit in week 13, but I think White is probably up for it because we've seen, it's not like this is the only game that we have of Mike White. He's pretty good last year. He's able to do, all the things that Zach Wilson just simply wasn't able to do to keep the Jets on schedule. Like they tried giving Zach Wilson, as plenty of layup throws, and he just missed them. Right. And White hits all those. So White's really good, like in the screen game, short game. And then obviously he hit some deep plays with Wilson and Moore. So yeah, I think he can keep them on schedule. And I think that sets up as a really fun game next week between the Vikings and Jets.
Zach can't pick up the offense. He only picks up MILFs. I mean, that's just the way it goes with Zach. It's one of those things. Eric Storm has got a question for you. He says, tight ends most likely on the waiver wires, 12-team league, that would be worth a flyer based on remaining schedule and possible usage. I'm not seeing anyone better than what I have, but could use depth. In other words, they want a sleeper tight end. So give us a sleeper tight end, sir.
Well, I'll just tell you that depth matters less and less as we get deeper into the season. And I think that I would use my bench spots. Depth matters in September. It matters in October. We've got a whole season to get through. We got bye weeks. We got injuries ahead of us. Right now, we just have 2 bye weeks left. What you want to do, generally speaking, at the end of a season is set yourself up. And you do this ahead of the trade deadline. You do this through the waiver wire. We want to set ourselves up to have the best possible starting roster in the money weeks, in the most important weeks of the season. And then everybody that we have as depth, we want those to be lottery tickets. We want those to be guys who, if they pop, if they get an opportunity, it's Alexander Madison, right? They just go off. They step into a huge role and they're RB1s or they're potential wide receiver 1s or 2s. That's what we want. We don't want backup tight ends. So this is a long way of saying I wouldn't do it. But some of the most interesting names out there, probably right now, Foster Moreau. He's scored touchdowns in 2 of his last 3 games. He's filling in for Darren Waller. We've seen many times before that when he steps into something close to a full workload, he's really good. You're not going to like this answer, but Taysom Hill has probably more upside in any given week than any tight end, right? Because he's on the field a lot. He's getting a ton of carries. They like him near the goal line. Not every matchup is going to be as bad as San Francisco. So Taysom Hill's pretty interesting. Hunter Henry is kind of a TD or bust tight end, but he's out there in a lot of leagues. But again, can't stress this enough. I would not have a second tight end. I would not have a bench tight end in most leagues in fantasy once we get into December.
All right. If you want to send in a question, you can do it right here on the YouTube chat board. And of course, on the Welt and Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. Two questions here. Should I drop Pierce from the Texans, and should I start Geno Smith over Watson? God, I wouldn't start Watson. He hasn't played at all. He might be really rusty, but go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd play Geno Smith. And I think Watson's going to be fine by the end of the year. But I'm with you. First game, there's just no need to do it. People are going to be tempted because it's Houston, right? It's a super friendly matchup. But I'd wait. I'd give this a chance, right? Like, he has been practicing with the team. He's been doing that for a couple weeks. But you want to give him time. Like, it's let him get his feet wet. Let's just see what we have here. I would assume that they lean
by the way,
really.
If your league also has negatives for interceptions, I would also stay away from that even more, because a rusty quarterback, brother, that's where turnovers happen, because he's
for better or worse. I will say no fantasy league does a good job scoring interceptions. It basically never happens. They're usually just a -1 or a -2, which is, in real life, they're a hugely catastrophic play in a lot of situations. But fantasy leagues don't really penalize them the way they should be. Your other question, I would not drop Dameon Pierce. He has had a couple of bad games in a row. This is like, I think over his last 7 quarters, he's got like 14 carries for 15 yards. Dameon Pierce is still among the NFL leaders in missed tackles forced on the season. Like, that Philadelphia game really happened. The first 10 weeks of the season really happened. He's really that guy. It's just a dreadful offense right now. That is going to be perhaps an ongoing problem. But again, like, your upside with Dameon Pierce is just different from many other running backs. Like, there's going to be people looking at the waiver wire thinking, do I add, Zonovan Knight and drop Dameon Pierce? And the answer for me to that question is a hard no.
All right. Pep is asking flex for the rest of the season. C. Sutton, Olave, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams is my number 1 back. So he wants one of the other.
Yeah, well, you put yourself in an interesting situation with the Lions backs. You're basically never going to be flexing DeAndre Swift while also starting Jamal Williams. Olave is the answer here for me. I wouldn't tie myself to that Denver offense unless I was absolutely desperate. So, Sutton's going to have some fine games, I'm sure, but you're really just hoping he scores Denver's lone offensive touchdown in any given week. Olave is in a better situation. He is, I want to say that right now he's behind only Tyreek Hill in terms of air yards that he's seen on the season. Wonderful route runner, the clear number 1 there. So for me, this is definitely Olave.
Yeah. I got it. All right. By the way, Kyron Williams and Traylon Burks, where are they right now, waiver wire wise?
I think Williams is a really interesting player, but playing a ton of snaps. He is a much more versatile back than Cam Akers, who hasn't been particularly exciting. I want to say they outsnapped Cam Akers 38-16 this past week. They get in a passing situation, and they're almost always going to be in passing situations. Williams is the guy that they want on the field. He was a good player over a couple years at Notre Dame, 1,000-yard back for Notre Dame. So I like Williams. It's just another situation where the offense itself is so dreadful. They're without Cooper Kupp right now. They're without Allen Robinson for the rest of the season. The line has been brutal. They're still dealing with backup quarterbacks, and Matthew Stafford has had multiple concussions, and there's just not a lot of hope for that offense right now. So here's another example of a player that I would not, I wouldn't drop Dameon Pierce for Kyron Williams. But he's probably the most interesting back in that backfield at the moment.
Did we talk about JaMychal Hasty yet?
We did not.
What do you think? What do you think about that?
This one's a complicated situation because Travis Etienne obviously lost to a foot injury this past week, but said immediately after the game that he thought he'd be good for this coming week, right? So if he plays in week 13, you figure that he's a featured runner again. JaMychal Hasty was really good, and JaMychal Hasty is he's small. He's 5'8". He's 200 pounds. He's not somebody who you would generally think profiles as somebody who over multiple weeks could handle a full workload. He probably does need to be if Etienne misses time, Hasty would probably need to be paired with Darrell Henderson, who they just claimed off waivers this past week after the Rams cut him. So that's probably a 1-2 punch, but Hasty looked really good, and he's been a very good receiver over multiple seasons. And I would expect that to be the role that he occupies. So if ETN were to miss time, I would imagine you'd get something like 10, 12 touches out of JaMychal Hasty with a really good chance that one of them goes for a touchdown.
You got a fantasy question? Send them in right here, right now on the YouTube chat board and also on the Welt and Realm text line. Easy way to get to it, 855-912-1056.
Big O, I got a fantasy question. Am I going to get Jimmy Butler this week? Is he coming back with a vengeance this week? I need it.
Well, I got to tell you, it's funny. If you heard the first hour, which of course you didn't, but in the first hour, I was talking about the play of Bam and the way of Caleb. And then Tyler even had a triple-double yesterday. And you're not going to like what I'm about to say. Not that they're going to do this, but this is what I suggest. You must save Jimmy Butler. You cannot have him every night scoring 25 points and 10 rebounds and 8 assists and killing himself and 3 steals, because he wears out by the end of the season, because that body has a lot of mileage, okay? Has a lot of mileage. So you need to pace him. And if Bam finally now has, his BBs have dropped and he is going to take 18, 20 shots a game, then you're going to see this Bam playing. And Caleb is a kid that just helps you out. By the way, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If Caleb Martin is available in your basketball league, go get him, because he fills up the stat sheet all over the place. I love Caleb Martin. I think it's time to turn it over where he helps those young guys, and then he becomes the hammer at the end of a half, at the end of a fourth quarter, that you need a tough basket, you need a tough stop. There's Jimmy Butler. But I think Jimmy Butler needs to be used more as a pace player from here on out, and put the young guys that you're paying all this money now, Bam and Tyler, put them in the forefront. And Caleb, who you're developing and gave him some money, put him up there, man, because those guys are doing the jobs and really helping you out. So I kind of
I wish you weren't right about that, but I'm sure the whole point of this season is to get Jimmy Butler to like April and May in fine working order. You're correct as usual.
And Butler screwed up by asking his friend to come here and sign a contract, and Kyle Lowry is stealing $30 million a year here and taking a chunk of the cap that he ends up screwing his friend. Actually, when it's all said and done, Jimmy screwed up by getting his friend to come here. He should have left Riley and company to do whatever they could find, because that acquisition, brother, that's
been a little rough. Sorry to sidetrack us here.
Yeah, but Sky Moore, has he turned into a flex guy already?
Yeah, this is really fun. So Sky Moore has seen a dozen targets over the last 2 games, and these are not, these aren't just run-of-the-mill targets. These are Patrick Mahomes targets. These are premier targets, right? And he's catching 5 balls a game.
Third downs. I mean, they're money downs and everything. They're throwing to Sky Moore.
Yeah. And for as long, certainly, we've got McCole Hardman out right now. We've got Kadarius Toney. You should generally assume that Kadarius Toney is going to miss games until proven otherwise. So great opportunity there. And Sky Moore doesn't exactly function in the same way that like Marquez Valdez-Scantling does, than Justin Watson does. Like he's kind of a unique player in that receiving core right now. He was there were people who were higher on Sky Moore coming into the draft process than I was, but like he had the biggest hands in his draft class, right? Like just really good at plucking the football, and a really interesting, particularly in Dynasty, a really interesting target over the long haul, because he's going to be paired with Patrick Mahomes over multiple seasons. So this has been really encouraging. Again, 6 targets in each of his last 2 games is when you're a Chief and you get that many targets in a couple games in a row, you're just an automatic ad.
Yeah. No, and obviously they've got to worry about some other monsters on the field, so it opens it up for a guy like Sky Moore. That's why that rookie's really done a nice job. All right, what are you working on over at Yahoo throughout the week to get folks ready for fantasy?
Yeah, we're going to have the waiver wire column tomorrow early on Tuesday morning, and recording a waiver wire podcast today with Matt Harmon. Check it out in the Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast.
tonight, shitty game. Who are the must players that you would use in this shitty game?
Najee Harris has bounced back a little bit. I think he's probably got to play. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, obviously Michael Pittman, and I think George Pickens is going to be really interesting for Pittsburgh. That guy does something every game that only like 5 receivers in the league can do. So he's been really fun.
I like him. He's fun to watch. All right, follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. And again, catch his work there at Yahoo Sports. And you can catch him once a week here along with our man Scott Pianowski. We got our bookend tackles Mondays and Fridays. We give you 2 fantasy segments every week. As always, Andy, thank you, my brother. Have a fantastic week. We'll catch up next Monday.
Thanks, Big O. Good luck to everybody this week.
There you go. That is the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. And don't forget, when it comes to Sports Grill, they've got all kinds of things going on. We've got Monday Night Football going on tonight. So when you've got Monday Night Football, you've got specials going on at Sports Grill. Monday, $7 single smash burger. Tuesday, $2 tacos, chicken, beef, or fish. Wednesdays, the kids eat free when you purchase an adult entree. And tonight, baby, during the NFL and NCAA games, $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles. And they've added these new cocktails also to the menu. The cherry lemonade and the tailgate tea are only $5 during NFL and NCAA games. $12 domestic pitchers, bone-in wings, 15% off. You're going to love it, baby. And they got 7 awesome locations. The 8th location, which is going to be a monster in Doral, it is coming. I hear it's right around the corner. It could be right here in early December. We'll tell you when, baby. And today, it's Monday. The Kendall location's got the milkshakes going on and rock and roll music all night long. Sportsgrill.com. Find out more, baby. You're going to love the food, the fun, and watching your favorite sports. Little World Cup action. Sports Grill.
You've been listening to the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Go to sportsgrill.com to find a great location near you. Fantasy football fans, subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on YouTube and all other platforms to catch up with all our fantasy football insight provided by Scott Pianowski and Andy Behrens.
All right. Appreciate all of you out there. Let me see what we got here. Let's go over to the Venmo. Asa Fapornchai. Did I get it right? Asa Fapornchai. Thank you for sending in some love on Venmo. Says first time texting in, lifelong from Los Angeles, converted to your show last year. Love it. Keep preaching, Big O. Tua and McD will bring us to the promised land. I'm with you. Thank you as always, man. That is very nice of you. Giving us some love on Venmo. Remember, you can send in a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And of course, we always love the Bitcoin donation on Cash App. You can always donate a little Bitcoin on Cash App. I wonder what's going on in the market right now as it is. Where is the Bitcoin? Still in the same spot. Nothing is moving. Not Ethereum, not Bitcoin, but that's all right. That's okay. It will grow anyway. Let's see. What else do we have? Feeling for anyone that went up against someone with Josh Jacobs on their team. Dang, $1.50 beers. I need to move to Miami. Get on down here, William. What are you doing, bro? What are you waiting for? Come on down. Join us here in South Florida. Jimmy is an old man, 33 years old like me. Well, that's old in basketball, not in life. 33 is a good age, bro. If you're 33, you're good. If you want, would you like to trade 23 years? I'll give you my 56 for your 33. Okay, let's do that. Come on, let's trade 56 for 33. Come on, let's go. You know, We'll do that right now if you want. How much better you think Watson will be than Brissett? I think he'll be slightly better, but not by much. I think he's going to make his share of mistakes in his first game easily. It's normal. Maybe he goes out there and lights it up, whatever. Karma is, I'm hoping karma attacks that guy in a big time way. And I'm talking about bad karma. Okay. It's just, it's kind of what he deserves. Big O, haven't heard you speak of who you think is the best available tackles. I don't know who's available. Like somebody sent in, what's it called? I forget. They sent in a couple guys that Eric Fisher, like he's retired. He's retired. That guy's not trying to play. The other guy was the guy that played for the Patriots. Somebody sent in the name. You guys are just throwing names out there and you're pulling them out of your ass. If those type of players were actually in shape and trying to play, that would be out there. They're not trying to play. Eric Fisher retired. He's done. With the other guy, damn it, a whole bunch of texts come in. I don't know if I can find it now. It's not great radio for me to start trying to find the damn text, but people sent in some names and I read them as I was, doing the fantasy segment, and it's a Soldier. They sent that in. Those guys plus Fisher and him, they have a whole bunch of injuries. They wore down and they retired. They're watching football on a couch. They'll take a month to get back into shape, and you don't even know if they're ever going to be even close to what you need at this point in time. Let me put it this way, guys. Okay. When you had Dave Wanstead running your personnel department, or Jeff Ireland, or Mike Tannenbaum, I get you want to question everything. But let's be honest now. Greer, McKenzie, Allen, okay? 3 phenomenal personnel people that run this team, okay? Don't you think they got the best that's available out there already as it is? Right? They find talent all over the place. Don't you think that if they could find a better tackle, they would? I mean, they found Brandon Shell. That's like the best you can find out on the street. Better than Fisher. Better than Nate Solder. Better than some of those names that you guys brought up. That those are people that they're retired. They're out of shape. They're watching television. They're playing with their kids, if they have kids, or they're drinking beer with their buddies and bullshit. And they're not playing football. They're not in the football mindset anymore. So you guys throw out names out there. You don't even know if they're available. You don't even know if they're in shape. You don't even know if they have a career-threatening like injury that it's not worth it for them to play anymore. None of that stuff. I've never heard that Nate Solder wants to play. I've never heard that Eric Fisher is trying to play or anything. None of that's been ever reported. And linemen are going down every week. As I said, I think on the post-game show or last week on Friday or Thursday, what you're going to have to do is attack the practice squads. And you're going to have to find a young guy that someone else is developing that you kind of liked, and you think that they have some kind of skill set, because obviously people that are on the practice squad have got all kinds of warts. But you're going to have to think of somebody that you really like and say, okay, well, let's bring this kid in and maybe we can try to, train him. But remember, if you steal him from the practice squad, he has to go to your active roster. You can't steal somebody from a practice squad and put them on your practice squad. That doesn't go like that. What I'm trying to tell you is trust these guys. I get we couldn't trust everybody else, but look at this team, dude. They're 8-3. They find Cater Kohu, and they find Brandon Shell, and they find Brandon Jones. These are people off the street. The Veron McKinley kid picked up an interception yesterday. Another street kid. They find guys all the time. Duke Riley has developed into a nice player for this team. It wasn't a draft pick of theirs. It's another guy off the street they found. It's pretty cool that you start seeing they know how to find people. So if there is a tackle to be found, I trust that Greer, Allen, and McKenzie will find that tackle. That's what I'm just trying to tell you. Stop driving yourself crazy about that. I get it. Sucks. Without Armstead, wow, life is rough, dude. Life is rough without Tua, and life is rough without Armstead. Okay? Those are two guys that changed the entire complexion of your team. You can get by without Byron Jones. You're getting by without Brandon Jones. But brother, sisters, we can't get by without Armstead and Tua Tagovailoa. Holy crap. You lose those guys and you've lost everything. It's tough. Big O, haven't heard you. Big O, good karma would be Watson out 2 games with gonorrhea. McDaniel has to scheme up a max protect offense or we're in serious trouble. Best thing we can do is pray. That's what I've been talking about, Christopher. We shall see. But I thought they would run the ball a lot, and they went passing the ball like crazy yesterday, which wasn't a problem in the first half. It was a problem once you lost all the linemen. And while the coach lied on the sword, he was also right. He shouldn't have stayed so aggressive. He should have changed, what he was doing. You already had a lead. Change up the way you're playing and tackle more with the run game and use up the clock and try to buy yourself more time that way. That I believe that would have been the smart thing to do. But what the hell do I know, right? What the hell? What the hey? What do I know? What else do we have going on? We got the Panthers tonight at 9:30 taking on those greasy Oilers. They're on the road, by the way. Cats just lost to St. Louis on Friday. They gave them the Blues in overtime, 5-4. They've lost 4 of 5, and they're 6-9 in their last 15. It's tough. The Canes. Let's talk. And folks, don't forget to please smash the hell out of the like button, man. Smash it, smash it, smash it. It really helps us. Helps get the algorithm out and get it out to more Heat and Dolphin fans and Canes fans and Marlins fans and Panther fans and Inter fans. So let's talk about the Canes who got routed this past week by Pittsburgh. It was a disgusting game, a disgusting display of 42-16. I'm a big Mario Cristobal fan. I'm a big Mario Cristobal believer. I have not lost 1 ounce of faith whatsoever in Mario Cristobal. Are we clear on that? Are we clear? Okay? I don't want any changes with Mario at all. Love Mario Cristobal. I think he's going to fix this. I think he's going to get it done. Having said all of that, okay? You do this, I do this. We all fail. There are times that we don't do a good enough job in whatever it is. Our relationship with our husbands or wives, our daughters and sons, our coworkers, our parents, our whatever it is. We screw up, right? We screw up a job that we did, that we were supposed to do this and we did that and we forgot this. None of us are perfect. Okay? Mario Cristobal is a hell of a coach, a hell of a human being, a hell of a professional, and he's going to outwork everybody in the end. I believe he'll get this right, but he failed this year. Just like you and I fail in lots of other things that we've done in our lives that we said, man, I could have done better. I didn't do good enough. Okay? Because none of us are perfect. I certainly am not. I make mistakes every single day. And there are things that I regret that I did and I didn't do and I should have done and I should have done better. I mean, it happens to me all the freaking time. I'm as faulty as the next person out there, okay? But Mario has to look in the mirror and say, I failed. I failed the administration. I failed the students. I failed the fan base. I failed the media. And most of all, I failed every one of those players in that locker room. Now, do the Canes have the right players in the locker room all over the place? No. But it's your job to get the max out of them. You didn't get the max out of this. No. Sorry. And for whatever reason, and maybe you don't have the right coaches. This was Chris Greer has done a lot of good things. He screwed up with Brian Flores. Now he fixed that because he's a damn good general manager. But the coach part, well, it's a young coach. Tried to figure it out. It didn't happen. At least he made the change. It looks like you corrected the problem. So that means you're a good custodian to the program, to the corporation, to the team, to the franchise. Mario Cristobal did a piss poor job this year. Horrible. One of the worst coaching jobs I have ever seen in my life. And I like Mario, but I'm not defending this. I'm not defending this in any way, shape, or form. And I know a lot of you have lost confidence in Mario because I get it on the text. I get it on emails. I get it on DMs. I get plenty of people say he's not the right guy, just like they said Tua's not the right quarterback. So I know how this flip-flopping world is. There isn't a lot of loyalty when it's all said and done. But I'm willing to wait 3 years to see what Mario Cristobal can do. And I'm expecting drastic improvement next year. And I'm not talking about that you got to win 10 games. I am talking about you better get to the maybe 8 or 9 range. Okay? And I better see better coach players. I better see smarter football out there on the field. I better not see those stupid ass penalties. Roughing the passer when you don't have to. Roughing somebody on the sidelines when you don't have to. Just doing stupid ass things. I don't want to see that anymore. I want to see effort from beginning to end. Yesterday, on Saturday, I did not see effort the entire time. So I want to see a football team that gives a shit about what they're doing. I want to see a football team that plays with passion for 4 quarters. I want to see a coaching staff that knows how to coach whatever player they have out on the field. Whatever skill set they have, they know exactly where they excel and exactly where they don't. If you don't have that coaching staff, you have the wrong coaching staff. But I've seen what Mario can do at FIU with no resources. I've watched him at Oregon with all the resources. He can get it done. He was the number 1 recruiter at Alabama for Nick Saban. His resume is exceptional. Did he do an exceptional job this year? Far from it. He did an absolutely shitty job this year. Okay? And I would tell him straight to his face, brother, that was unwatchable what you did this year. You and your staff were terrible. And he mentioned it, by the way, in the press conference, which, again, that's why I love Mario. I'm paraphrasing, but he says, it seems like our coaching also did not connect or something along those lines. So he was laying on the sword too. He effed up somewhere. He knows it. So I again guarantee you, by the way I saw that press conference, there's going to be coaching changes. And Gaddis, I think, will be one of those coaching changes. Fix it. You don't have a lot of time. I know you got the 8-year contract, but you probably have a 3-year window. The fly-by-nighters, the flip-floppers, those people are never satisfied. They're going to give up on you within weeks or this year. And they have already. Like, they gave up on Tua and they gave up on Chris Greer. And, those are the people that gave up on Mario this year. You know who you are? You're the ones that used to tell me Chris Greer was part of the problem. He's been here for 20 years. You know who you are? Huh? I see you. You're there. I see you. That's you. You said that stupid shit because you just repeat what somebody else says because you didn't think for yourselves. Those are the kind of people that gave up on Mario already. The people that said Tua's got a noodle arm. The people that said Tua doesn't work hard enough. Stupid shit like that. Those are the people that gave up on Mario. You don't give up on Mario right now. Did he do a good job? Hell no. He did an absolutely shitty job. Okay? Maybe, and you know what? 1 year from now, down the line, Mario will be winning a national championship, but he will also own the rights to the worst year I've ever watched of Hurricanes football. But I hope I get to laugh about it. I hope I get to say, well, you know what? That was the start of getting back to respectability as a program. And that's what I'm hoping for. But I'm not going to give any excuses to Mario Cristobal or anybody on that staff for this season. They did a horrible job. And they need to fall on that sword. And they need to lie on that sword. And they need to tell everybody that what they did was not good enough. What they did was an embarrassment. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what that was. This season was an outright embarrassment. It was pathetic. So Mario Cristobal has got 2 more years to fix this. After that, you will lose the entire fan base. You will lose all of the media. Everybody will be after your ass and the administration. You can get by for this year because only the knuckleheads are going to give up now. The sensible people will understand that it's going to be a process and it's going to take time no matter how much it sucks. But that's part of the whole game, unfortunately. I'm willing to wait till year 3. But I got to see drastic improvement in 2. And in year 3, you know what I need to see? What I'm watching with Florida State right now. What did they end, Sean? 8-4, I believe, right? And on the 8-4, 9-3 or something? What was Florida State? That's what I need to see in year 3, where you're on the come up, and the following year, year 4, you're challenging for the ACC title. And that's what Florida State's going to do. Their quarterback is going to be a Heisman Trophy contender next year, and Florida State will be challenging for an ACC title next year. I'm sorry?
9-3.
I just saw it right now, 9-3. That's what I need to see from the Canes. What exactly I'm seeing from Mike Norvell in year 3 from Florida State. 9-3, and next year you should be the team challenging Clemson for the ACC title in year 4. If Mario doesn't do that, then you're not getting your money's worth, Hurricane administration. Do you want me to be honest? You want me to call it like I see it? That's how I see it. You have NIL money, a lot of NIL money, because, he's very generous. I admire the crap out of Mr. Diaz because he could easily keep his riches. He could easily just take care of his family and his friends if he felt like it, and his corporation. He does not have to do what he's doing with kids from FIU and FAU, the University of Miami, University of Florida, Florida State. There are many kids in all those universities that are, life wallet beneficiaries. And I think that that's just absolutely phenomenal. I don't care what you think of Diaz or whatever. Anybody that is giving and helping young people, I think that's absolutely phenomenal, dude. Okay? And I know he's kind of a controversial figure and all that good stuff, but you know what, man? He's helping people. And whatever, if he's helping his business too along the way, well, then God bless him. Then he's a good businessman. But the fact that he's helping people, that helps Mario. He's got that NIL money. He's got the transfer portal, and he can recruit his ass off. The bar has been set for him. Okay? Canes fans have waited long enough. But what happened this year, that shit needs to end right there. That chapter, that book needs to close because that stuff cannot be experienced ever again under Mario Cristobal. So you better see there better be a disciplined team next year. I'm not saying you got to be better than everybody, but you better be disciplined. You better play smart. You better play hard for 4 quarters. And you better win more than you lose. That's what I need to see from Mario Cristobal. And I believe in him, and I believe he's going to change it. But I will not give him any breaks for a terrible job this year by Mario Cristobal. Terrible. It's the only way to describe it. It's the worst coaching job I have ever seen in Miami Hurricanes history. The worst. And Manny Diaz sucked. Okay? Manny Diaz, Al Golden sucked. Those are two of the worst coaches I've ever seen, and Mario beat both of those guys this year. So I hope he owns one of the best seasons ever with a national title, because I know he's always going to he's always going to own the worst season I've ever experienced as a Miami Hurricanes fan. FSU had 2 players Mario didn't want, Micah Pittman and Johnny Wilson. Hey, whatever it is, man, all I can tell you is shit job this year. That's all I can say. I'm not pussyfooting around anything. I don't work at the flagship station. I'm not afraid of ever giving my opinion on any of that. This is why people listen to this show, because no matter what, I'm going to be objective about all our teams, whatever they're doing, and all our owners and general managers and coaches and players, and we're going to call it like we see it. Mario failed everyone. Everyone. The only thing he didn't fail was his bank account. Outside of that, he failed in every way, shape, and form. Brother, the whole season was a failure, including the jersey they had him to initially, bring out the press conference, that they had like a nursery shirt on, the shirt that you give like a kid when it's born. Like, that was embarrassing in itself. You're spending all this money. You couldn't actually come up with a real jersey for the man when you sign him on. We should have known how the season was going to go with that jersey right there. Big O, you are correct. It's been 1,000 years before we've been this good. December football that actually means something. Amen. Talk of a Kane Stadium at Tropical Park died with this season. That was never alive. That's silliness. Greater good. None of that was ever alive. The University of Miami does not want a new stadium at all. They're stuck in a lease for like 15 more years, dude. They're not going to pay the millions it would take to get out of that lease. So none of that would ever happen. They're fine. That's all a John Ruiz thing. That's not a Hurricanes thing. That's a John Ruiz thing, that his vision and all that. And God bless him that he wants to do that. But the Canes are not in any hurry to leave Hard Rock Stadium. And let's be quite frank, they don't need their own stadium. That stadium's fine. We don't need a stadium close to the campus because there are so many kids that want to go. Please. That's never been the case. That never will be the case with that private school. Half the kids that go to that school don't even live in this country. Okay? So please, let's half the kids in that school don't even give a shit about sports. This isn't Nebraska and Oklahoma and LSU and Alabama and all that, where they live, eat, and breathe football for their programs. And I know Nebraska sucks, but they live and eat and breathe for their program, no matter what. We'll see if Matt Rule can actually do something there too, by the way. Big O, what did you think of Tyler Herro's triple-double last night? What do you think of his progression? Well, I love what I saw from him and Bam and Caleb, especially Bam and Caleb. But it's time. You're paying all of these guys. They all got contracts. Those three guys got big-ass contracts. I know Caleb's is not as big as those guys, but he got a lot compared to where he was. So you all got your contracts? Well, let's go, dude. Let's go. The BBs need to drop. You need to become badasses every night. And if not, then you're not paying the right. Bam is not playing like a franchise player. The last two nights he has. That's what I need from him. So check back with me a month from now if Tyler's still doing this every night, not the triple-double, but playing his ass off. And I'd love to see Bam or Caleb do this. Man, that would be awesome. Less pressure, please, on Jimmy Butler. Let Jimmy Butler be your closer, not your entire franchise. That's what I'll tell you. Speak of embarrassing, did you see the Sean Taylor tribute? Man, I got to tell you something. The Sean Taylor tribute is so freaking weak. It's gross. This is the Sean Taylor. This is a statue they put out of Sean Taylor, the Washington Redskins. This guy is such a loser, Dan Snyder. It's just a uniform. That's it. Really? That's the Sean Taylor statue? Where's his face? It's like the Invisible Man statue. That's not Sean Taylor. That's the Invisible Man. He just happens to be wearing a uniform, but, the skin part you can't see. That's the only reason you can see the Invisible Man right now, because the Invisible Man has got a jersey and some pants on and shoes. So stupid. I mean, if you're going to honor the man, you know what I would have done? You got all this money, right? Brother, I'm calling, is it Madame Tussauds, right? Is that how it's pronounced? I've been to her wax museums. Went to the one in Los Angeles, too. I'm calling Madame Tussauds. And I'm saying, listen, we want to honor Sean Taylor, and obviously you are the preeminent when it comes to wax figures. Can you design Sean Taylor for us? Not only would I have made a statue of Sean Taylor, I would have said that it's a statue of Sean Taylor created by Madame Tussauds, which then adds to the, to the honor that you went out and sought one of the great talents that does that and for a living in her wax museum. So you use her people to create the Sean Taylor uniform, the statue. This is a joke. That's not how you honor Sean Taylor, dude. So I'm with you 100%, Kevin. That one, sad, man. Sad. Big O, the only way the Hurricanes leave the stadium is if Stephen Ross gets the contract to build the stadium and gets paid. Exactly. Drago, I like that. I like that. That is, maybe that's Ruiz's plan, how to get out of it. Steven, you're going to build a stadium for us. And there you go. It's a great idea, Drago. I love that, dude. That's thinking outside the box, dude. That was really, really good on your part. I mean, not that it's ever going to happen or any of that, but yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. And let me tell you something. The best thing for the Canes really is to stay there at Hard Rock Stadium. Do you know why I say that? Because the people in Palm Beach, it's a lot easier for them to get there. The people in Broward, it's super easy to get there. And it's easy to get there from Dade. It's centralized a little bit more. If you put it down there in Miami, then you're forcing the people from up north to drive even farther. So I kind of like that it's centralized. I think that's a good thing overall. It's not a bad thing. And again, if you had the kind of alumni base that FIU and FAU has, then I can understand building a stadium close to the university, but you don't. Your alumni base that shows up is a small fraction, so it's not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Like the Chevy Chase movie, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Yes, there you go. Big O, is Messi coming to Miami? I mean, dude, we've been talking about this for years. I'll read the story for you all. ESPN recently reported that it's not happening. Okay. Again, I you know, what can I tell you? Is this 100% accurate? Who knows what you believe nowadays? But here's how the story goes. PSG, or for those of you that don't follow, Paris Saint-Germain's Lionel Messi has not agreed to a deal to join Inter Miami, despite reports suggesting he's close to, sources told ESPN. Reports on Sunday suggested Inter Miami were confident that they could sign the Argentina captain after the World Cup, but sources close to a 35-year-old have denied the idea that there's an agreement in place. Messi has previously said he would like to play in Major League Soccer, but the forward has decided not to think about his future until the new year and has opted to focus on the World Cup. Miami could prove an attractive destination for Messi, given it's where he and his family regularly go on holidays. And while they also own a house there, but sources added that discussions between the two parties are not at an advanced stage. And apparently he still has opportunities in Europe. And they're going to pay him a lot more money than they would in the MLS. Now, I think what would happen in the MLS is it would be some kind of a partnership with some kind of a shoe, some kind of a company where the MLS would pay a certain amount of salary, Moss that is, of course, and then they cut some kind of a deal with a corporation that he represents, and it's an even bigger chunk, and that kind of stuff would have to be involved. What I've heard is that he goes to Europe again, and then when the season ends, then he comes here in the summer, not at the beginning of the year. If it happens. But dude, this is a rumor that's been going on for, God, 5-6 years already. It's one that I'm tired of, actually, because it's never accurate. My entire house just shook. Houses shaking in Florida? It was weird. Did you see the mic shake? Were you able to pick that up? All right, I guess because we're live, it didn't pick it up, but I'm gonna rewatch the video here a second, see if the mic was shaking, because I just kind of felt a tremor like in my house, like a minor one, very minor, but like I've never felt that. It's kind of weird. Let me see. I'm looking at it now and see if I think it's about to happen now, because when you rewind, it looks like I went a little too far. And I don't know, could any of you actually notice the mic shaking? Because I kind of noticed it myself for a moment there, because I looked and it was kind of shaking. That was weird, man. Are you in the second floor? No, I'm in the second floor. I'm in the second floor. So I don't know if it was some kind of a thunder or some kind of you guys are putting a UFO, maybe, or maybe somebody else hit the wall of my house again. Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, Are they doing any blasting in your? Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't been out of my house, so I have zero clue if they're doing anything outside. But I will say, yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I don't think you can tell if the mic was actually moving. It looked like it. A sinkhole. Well, maybe. Maybe my entire house is going to fall. It's hard for sinkholes in our part of the world because, brother, at least where I live in West Kendall, you dig like 3 inches and it's all rock. I mean, it's terrible, bro. We have all freaking rock, bro, under us. It's all coral, man. Anyway. What else? AB done started his Uber driving and hit your house, maybe. The 49ers trembling at what they have to face next week. There you go. I like that. That's very funny. AB too, huh? That would be funny too. West Kendall, my old stomping grounds. Yes, sir. We had a sinkhole here in Kentucky. It took out a bunch of Corvettes at the Corvette Museum a few years back. Wow, what a shame. Big O heard reports people were feeling light tremors in West Port St. Lucie a couple days ago. Really? Wow. Interesting. But I did feel like a little bit here. All right. It is time to wrap it up here on the show. Take care of the voice. We've done 3 hours. We want to thank Andy Behrens, Alan Poopart, and that's it, actually. Ira Winderman will join us tomorrow. So we'll have some fun with Ira, and we'll go over some of these basketball topics with the Miami Heat. I want to see if I bring them over to my side on the Caleb world. You know what I'm saying? And they barely had any points off the bench. Now, neither did what's it called? Neither did Atlanta yesterday. They didn't have a lot of points off their bench either. But once you get Jimmy back, I'm telling you, I'd put Tyler coming. I tell Tyler, look, you see who Manu Ginobili is? He did what's best for the team. He was an all-star, but they needed him off the bench so he can, kind of dominate. We need you to do the same thing. Why? Because Caleb is a defensive player. And he provides something that, unfortunately, Tyler has yet to provide. So we'll ask Ira about that. All right, we thank, of course, Sean Stanley. He is the best in the business. Nobody better, nobody I'd rather be working with than my man Sean Stanley, as always. Appreciate you, Sean, mastering the entire platform. We will see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Y'all have a great one out there. Much love.